It is once again time to prepare your mind for another edition of Weekly Weird.
Oh ho ho! I got you, Jim.
You did get me.
Oh my god! Why are you now? Now I'm hearing you double in my brain. Keep talking to me. Mic check.
Hey, buddy.
Oh.
Hey, what's up? There's only one of me.
I don't know. There sounds like there's two. No, I know exactly why.
Sure.
Keep talking. Whatever. You guys don't have to worry about it. Welcome back. It's Weirdos. It's the Weekly Weird. My name is Dio, otherwise known as Dio TV, and I'm with this guy.
Hi, it's me, this guy.
Yeah, that one. Patrick, otherwise known as Old Man Strong. The realest Old Man Strong I know. And finally, totally not suffering from Munchausen by proxy syndrome,
True.
Jim Hickox. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. I put a little coconut water in my seltzer today.
Oh, what's in that mug, dude?
Nice.
That's like look at that mug.
It's
look
guy
at-
holding a smaller mug.
That's pretty great. He looks like a
Pretty cute.
elder tree spirit.
Yeah, he's a crinkly old fella.
I like him.
Yeah, me too.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Good morning. Good morning. Damn, hold on. Can you show that to the people? Because we have not stopped commenting about it. Show it to the people.
What? It's just a bathtub full of wine. It's a whole ass bottle of wine in a bathtub with an umbrella straw and two little rubber duckies.
I feel critically unprepared.
Yeah,
I'm
you
lacking
need a comedy beverage.
Yeah, I have no comedy beverage container. What's up, Edgy? What's up, Fall for Bobby? What's up, Cookie? What's up, David?
You do need that, Edgy.
I know.
Get you a bathtub of wine.
I know. Right. We all need a bathtub of wine. Good morning. Peace, love, gratitude. Welcome in, guys. We have quite the show today. Today's going to be a different kind of episode than we're normally doing. I know you're used to us talking about real subjects, like factual things, but today we're going to get into the world of we're like dabbling into the world of like reality TV and true crime podcast. You know, the stuff that these is whatever. Welcome in, Cringy Puff. Long time no see over there on the YouTube. Doing something a little different tonight. So yeah, we're talking about the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard by Gypsy, Rose, Blanchard, and Nicholas Godejohn. That's what we're going to talk about today, because it is a weird story. I think it fits the Weekly Weird in our name.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Our mission statement of analyzing the weirdest stuff possible known to man. But first, what's this week in weird, guys? Take it away. Oh, Jim. Take it away.
Oh, Jim. Leaked government texts suggest that the public would be slack-jawed to learn about what happened in Roswell, New Mexico. This is connected to the stuff we've been sort of touching on. These there's been a lot of fallout lately from the testimony that was happening last year in front of U.S. Congress, and this is just some more. The thing that I thought was interesting in this particular story is that what has come out in this past week. This is via the New York Post, everyone's favorite trusted
name
publication.
In news. Yeah, that's right. We totally don't just print anything.
Yeah, exactly. We're real publication. This one includes some redacted, semi-redacted texts between different government agents to one another, in which they suggest that that the public would be slack-jawed to find out what the government currently knows. If Dio, if you scroll about, let's say, 2/3 of the way down the page, there's a screenshot of the very redacted text messages.
Well, this is classic photo.
That's some classic stuff.
Yeah, look at this Roswell stuff. I love it.
Bunch of Roswell stuff. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
We're going.
There you go. We can see these are the text messages. Someone and I are making huge progress getting into the CR program. Plans to meet with you. The public, we assume, would be slack-jawed to find out if they found out what we now know. We haven't gone that far back. We're dealing with the recovered UAP that landed in Kingman, Arizona in the 50s.
Oh.
We're vacuuming up info as someone gets read in. We now know the management structure and security control systems. We also know who recovers landed or crashed UAPs under what authorities. We also know that a still highly classified memo to the Secretary of the Air Force is still in effect to maintain the cover on UAP.
Ooh, okay. All right.
There you go. Senior government official had vast knowledge of UFO protocols.
Okay. Somebody knows something about something.
Yeah.
Presumably the Kingman
the
UFO.
Blue, yeah. The blue side is Christopher Mellon, who is the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. The other person is an anonymous source. So we don't actually know who this government source is, but they claim it's a government source.
Dun, dun, dun.
There's something. Inching closer and closer to disclosure.
Bobby, thanks for dropping in. Nightwing, hello. Yeah, inching closer and closer. One day the truth will come out.
Yeah.
One day.
The truth will be out there.
Yeah, the truth is out there, and it will get in here at some point.
Into your heart.
Take the truth into your heart. The truth about UAPs in your heart. Do you have
For one brief moment, as I did the heart gesture, I was worried I was going to crunch my microphone. But that's not how I'm mic'd. I don't have a lavalier.
Not even. I've noticed that everyone's like decided to move their microphones off screen today.
Yeah, I'm trying to hide it. Yeah.
I know, man. Right. I'm just gonna.
I'm trying to be a pro, guys.
No, man. Pro streamers is you got to show off your microphone. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you
want people to know that you
spent
spent money on
and
it.
its flare.
Well, yeah, and it's yeah.
Yeah, you got stickers. I don't have stickers.
You do have stickers on there. You're doing a little better than me.
Yeah.
What's next?
No new testimony from eyewitnesses to a 1966 UFO. This is via the Sun-Times News, August 12th. It's 1966 in Dexter, Michigan.
Oh.
Two young women, sisters-in-law. They're visiting a friend, hanging out, listening to the police scanner like you do for fun. I used to do that when I was a kid. I get it. It's boring. It's 1966.
You were a very popular kid, weren't you, Jim?
Yeah.
Super popular.
Police scanner.
Hey guys, did you guys hear on the radio?
I also had a CB radio. I would listen to the truckers as they went by. I lived right next to the highway.
What was your handle?
I didn't talk that much.
God.
I would, of course, being like in my early teens, I would just, instead of like radioing people and talking to them, I would just be like, just obnoxious kid stuff.
They must have loved that.
Just take up space. Oh yeah.
This is Big Papa to shut the fuck up. That's your response.
Yeah, I just try to get them mad, right? Yeah, it's like get anything from them.
Yeah. It's like you did the CB equivalent of doing this to truckers.
Yes, I did.
On the highway. Okay. You know what?
Toot. Notice me. These two young women hanging out, listening to the police scanner. They hear that cars are being dispatched to the Frank Manor residence out on McGinnis Road. And they're like, oh, there's going to be some crime, or there's been some crime. But actually, no. The police are being dispatched to look at a UFO that is on his property. So they hurl their young sons into the backseat of the car, presumably secure them by lap belts only, and drive out to McGinnis Road, only to find that the craft has already departed. Yeah.
Oh.
But they'd heard another sighting referenced on the radio out by Peach Mountain. So, undeterred, they drive up to Peach Mountain. And via researcher Ray Zymanski, whatever they see out there changes their lives. There are no more details in the article. But the article does tell you that Ray Zymanski is giving a presentation at the Dexter District Library on August 20, which will include new recordings of conversations he had with the two women explaining what they saw out there on Peach Mountain.
Amazing.
I'll keep my eyes out for
All
follow-up
right.
on this, but if anyone is out near Dexter, Michigan, you should swing in. It's on the 20th. It's free.
Get out there, guys.
Yeah, and then give us a phone call.
To
Tell
Michigan.
us what you learned.
That's right. We need somebody on location. Who do we have in
Yeah.
Michigan? Get
Yeah, who's
out
out there?
there. We'll get you on stream. Or if you're out in Michigan, give us a call later when the phone line calls up.
Yeah, exactly. Let us know.
Rock and roll.
I'm gonna skip my next one.
Okay.
Let's look at this. This was reported everywhere this week. I found this article like 10 times. But what I actually have is the initiating YouTube link here. This is from
Whoa. Okay. Sorry.
commercial pilot and vlogger Captain Rude. I'm not gonna say his whole name. Captain Rude is what he goes by. RUUD.
I see. It's a real name. I thought we were
Yeah.
dealing with like a wrestling situation. I'm
No.
Captain Rude here, brother.
I wish. He's a real pilot, but he goes by Captain Rude. He
Yeah.
does his announcements at the beginning of the flight.
Get ready for some real rough airwaves.
I'm gonna give it to you straight. This flight's gonna suck. Yes. So much turbulence. Hang on to your butts. If I see your tray tables left down during a landing, I'm throwing you off the top rope, brother.
It is good if you're gonna have a pilot who's a wrestler to have him be a heel.
Is that a movie? Is
I will crash
WrestlePlane?
this airplane.
Right? Jesus
Turn off
Christ.
all electronic devices. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Wait a minute. Is that that's a movie, right? Write this down, Jim. WrestlePlane. Okay?
Wrestleplane.
No,
I wrote
WrestlePlane.
it.
Yeah. Not
WrestlePlane.
WrestlePlane.
WrestlePlania.
WrestlePlane.
Plane.
WrestlePlane. Yeah, we just need to get Kelsey Grammer to come in here and be like, listen, it's a WrestlePlane. Okay?
Wait, why Kelsey Grammer?
Because he was in Money Plane.
Huh,
You don't
okay.
know Money
Oh.
Plane? God, nobody gets that reference. All right.
So-
Get
Sorry
out
to
of here.
let you
Moving
down.
on. Moving on. Nobody watches
Captain
the same
Rude.
shitty movies as I do.
Regularly uploads videos to YouTube of his flights, of him getting ready to fly, occasionally of him RV camping with this giant puffy white dog named Shiro. He, a little over a week ago, 2 weeks ago almost actually, uploaded this video where if you watch the whole video, it's mostly him getting ready to fly and then taking off. And then about 30 minutes into the flight, you could hit play on it. There's a lot.
Should I play without sound?
Yeah, just play with that. About 30 minutes into the flight, they start seeing UFOs drifting around. And we're at that part of the video right now. That is that bright thing out the window. Is an unidentified object. They did not show up on the radar in the plane. He asserts that the lights are not consistent with stars or with any satellites, and that he doesn't know what they are. He said they kind of danced around. They moved in a way that's inconsistent with anything.
They
he
seem to be
recognized.
going in and out. Or is that...
Mhm.
They seem
Like
to
that
be
one
doing
just-
that to my eyeballs also, but that's not a thing they really mentioned. They said they danced around.
Huh. I wonder if they're going behind, like,
Clouds.
clouds or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
Huh.
He also says there's 3 or 4 of them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's compelling.
right?
This is what Christopher Mellon's waiting for. Oh, there's like 3 or 4 of them, and yet I only see... Well, it's kind of
Yeah, I don't know.
weird.
What's
Is
kind
that
of
one
weird?
at the bottom of the window? a
Yeah,
glare, or
that's
is
what I was
it
about to say.
It's
Is it-
really hard to tell.
It's really hard to tell which one what was what. And like this is one of these rare times where I kind of forgive the quality of the video here, because it's like your nighttime flying. There's not a lot of light,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it feels like he's doing his best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like the quality of the video is pretty good, even though it's like filmed at night. Oh, you can see the stars in the background. Oh, interesting.
You can.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is really cool. What is that?
I don't know. It's something.
It's weird is that they don't. He says they dance around, but all the shots
seems like
is like they're pretty stationary relative to the airplane.
That is my read. Also, it feels like they are very far away.
Yeah, they're either very far away or like, I don't know. There's some sort of, reflection of something happening. I don't know. It's wild.
The dudes in the cockpit are all, if you turn the audio on, they're not speaking English, but they're all talking to each other and they're all seeing the thing.
Yeah.
And they seem interested in it, which, unless they're all like pulling a fun hoax
Sure.
together, it seems like, I don't know, it seems compelling. It seems like it's something.
Yeah.
Right. That is weird. All right.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it. Jim, listen, you're gonna prove our aliens are out there. I love it.
Yeah, well, because they are.
They're right there. We just saw 'em.
Right there, in that image. We're looking at them right now.
These are the aliens we got.
You know what else I'm going to prove to you?
What's that?
Ghosts.
Oh,
Someone
my
spotted
God.
a ghost on a doorbell camera. I'm not going to say the brand. In Fort Worth, right down the road from me, baby.
Oh.
This is via the Fort Worth Star Telegram, August 14. A woman out in Fort Worth got an alert that someone was standing outside of her house. So she looked on her phone or whatever and found these pictures. I think there's 2 pictures in there. Found these images of a ghost standing on her porch.
I'm guessing the ghost is the shape here, this thing.
Yeah, it's the dark shape.
Uh-huh.
Spooky.
Spooky. That's right, black market breast milk. It is ghost. Also, amazing name. Amazing name. That is, I mean, I don't know.
And pear-shaped.
It is pear-shaped. Has to be ring. That's right. I don't know about these. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Less
it kinda
compelling.
It kind of just looks like there's a light up and to the right, and it's making a shadow off that post.
Yeah, it kind of
But-
does, right? Like,
Yeah.
this feels. I don't know.
But then why would she be like, oh, this is different than normal? Presumably she's looked at what it looks like outside her doorbell before.
Okay, but how many? Okay. What time did she look? What time is this?
At night? The night time?
Gotcha. All right. I'm just saying, who knows exactly what that looks like all the time?
That's some lady in Fort Worth.
I guess.
You know,
Listen,
to me, it looks like a not fully formed genie coming out of a lamp.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we're actually dealing with a genie or a djinn.
I know. You know what? You bring up a good point. Everyone goes straight to ghosts.
It's true.
Okay?
Right?
There are a myriad of other supernatural entities it could be. A djinn is just as likely as a ghost.
Yeah.
One might say more likely. One might be wrong, but one might say it's more likely.
One time I had a bathtub full of gin.
Hold on. Speaking of bathtub, thank you. I was gonna give you the snare and the hi-hat, but I didn't have. I was quick enough. In Scooby-Doo, the ghost was a projector, but that wasn't real because it was a cartoon. This seems real because it's not a cartoon. Sound logic.
That is good
logic.
logic.
That is good logic. You know what? With
Decidedly
that kind of
not
logic,
animated. Yeah.
that's the kind of weekly weird viewer I want every week. That's solid logic right there.
Yeah. That's a photograph, therefore real.
Yeah, this is not a cartoon, therefore real.
Yeah.
Ipso facto, as they say in the business.
Yeah. Now, if she was seeing a talking dog through her ring cam.
Well, how would she know it was
Zoinks.
talking if she was only seeing it?
Because it has audio. Tio.
Okay, so she's hearing the dogs. What do you mean?
If she's watching a video of outside her door and there's a dog and it's holding balloons and singing about how it's her birthday.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna give this one to you. I don't know if I have the strength of character to fight you on this one.
So a story from KLIX in Twin Falls, Idaho, on August 15th. This one, I'm just gonna straight up read this to you guys, because it's like a short dramatic essay that someone wrote who works at this radio station. There's not much to see on this, but we can go through it together.
Oh wait, this is a Fox affiliate? No way. Anyway, keep going.
Spooky.
I heard him singing. It was 5:10 a.m. I have a coworker who isn't scheduled to arrive until 6:15 every morning.
No, keep going, keep going.
Some days he'll arrive. Some days, one word. He'll arrive early for special projects or to get a jump on the day. The singing came from the outer office near his desk. I got out of my seat and walked down the hall. Then I rounded the corner and offered a cheerful hello. There was silence. His desk was empty. I walked the whole building and found it empty. There were 4 radio stations in the building. You can argue I heard music from one of our signals. None of the speakers were on, and what I heard wasn't accompanied by any instruments. It was a joyful voice. I'm not a guy who believes in ghosts. Once I thought my dad called out my name 2 weeks after he died, on a quiet street, when I appeared the only person in sight. I had an experience the Friday after Thanksgiving last year. It looked like a circular light moving along a wall at work, about the same height as an average man. A previous business manager once watched a chair move on its own. One coworker heard someone come in a door on a Friday night. He heard the sound in the next room. He found he was still alone in the building. These are just a few of the stories past and current employees have experienced. But I write this because I'm seeing increased activity. Is it our building alone? Or are the dead rising?
My God.
Mother of God. Well, what do we think?
Clearly the dead.
I think that radio station's haunted.
Yeah. Haunted by the Charmings. I mean, I like pick unrelated over here for this one. Just
Yeah.
Well, it's haunted by the dead format. Former radio. I don't know, man. Oh,
AM radio, R.I.P.
Rip. Well,
It is all a ghost.
If a ghost haunted a radio station, what kind of programming block do you think it's doing?
Ska.
Why ska?
That's,
Why?
It just seems what ghosts are into.
All right, guys. Ghosts always be skanking, I guess.
Yeah. Why? What would you think?
I don't know. I would think. You know what? I do appreciate ska as an answer because it's not like heavy metal or like spooky goth.
No,
music.
ghosts are always bopping around, being like.
You know what? You've convinced me. Chat, what do you
Ghosts.
think? If you were a ghost at a radio station, what would you do? The ska's ghost name would be Jake. I love it.
Yeah, why not? Uh-oh, Jake's back.
Jake
Here-
the ska ghost.
Tromboning around behind you. Jake.
Fucking Jake. Because in the afterlife, he'd be less than...
Oh, you're going
You know
hard.
what?
You're going
You know
hard,
what?
Black Market.
Well done.
Nice.
Why is like 90% of ghost UFO sightings always in the U.S.? Do you guys not get the ghost sightings in Finland?
I would think well, you know what? I bet it's because a lot of places, this harkens back to what we were just talking about. I bet a lot of places have other stuff. You know? Like in Ireland, they probably have a lot of like wee folk sightings or whatever.
And banshees. Yeah.
But we just don't have that stuff. We have ghosts.
Yeah.
We have paranormal activity.
Right. We have UFOs and we have ghosts.
Yeah.
That's our like cultural, lore, because we don't folklore, because we just don't have anything. You're right. Because it's true. It's like I've heard, and correct if anybody who's been or is from Iceland can correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard that they like are more on the like they like literally
morons?
have gnomes. Get out of here, Jim. Fuck off. Why are you trying to get me canceled?
So
Why are you trying to get me canceled in Iceland? We have drunks in Finland. That's amazing.
I mean,
you guys
you have trolls, don't you? Doesn't Finland have trolls?
Trolls, right. I
go.
think Iceland has trolls too. I think that's what I'm thinking of. Not gnomes, trolls. Have you
Somewhere
guys
has gnomes, for
discussed
sure.
the ghosts that helped invent chiropractic?
No.
No. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or the guy, yeah. I don't know.
Putting it on the list.
I don't know. Yeah. Let us know. No, you guys don't have trolls? Okay.
Okay, well. You got something weird in Finland.
Norway
Norway
does.
has trolls.
Got it. Okay.
What do you have
that's
in
fair.
What do you have in Finland?
Yeah. Well, they have, the ever-present watch guarding the border to make sure that goddamn Ruskies don't get in.
Sure.
That's right.
Yeah, why make up fake Never mind. We'll keep moving on.
I have one more story. It's very lighthearted.
Okay.
It's a
Because
nice little palate cleanser.
That one was serious. Oh my god. Please tell me.
Bigfoot,
Yes!
Theo's favorite,
Bigfoot.
is getting local
Bigfoot.
honors. From Derry Borough in Pennsylvania, as of August 15. Grant Nicely. The mayor of the borough of Derry in western Pennsylvania has issued a proclamation claiming Bigfoot as their official cryptid.
Hell
The
yeah.
borough has also declared itself a sanctuary for Bigfoots, making capture or willful harm of Bigfoots in the area punishable by law. It's part of the Chestnut Ridge area of Pennsylvania. They have a long history of Bigfoot sightings and more, going back to Iroquois stone giants. Via the council vice president Nathan Bundy, this proclamation honors the generations of stories and sightings that have made Derry and the Chestnut Ridge a destination for those intrigued by the unknown.
All right.
I didn't watch this video, but that dude is rad.
Yeah,
Dude, so excited.
I'm hoping that's the mayor.
listen, that guy with the fucking Canadian tuxedo, he is fucking crushing it right now.
Yeah.
He is fucking crushing it. I want to grow up to be that man.
Without doing any further research into it, I'm assuming that's Grant Nicely, the mayor.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that other guy is a shaved Bigfoot. But
right.
The chiropractor thing is real, by the way. Interesting.
I wrote it down.
Nice.
We're gonna look it up. Come back.
Listen, I love Bigfoot. You know I love Bigfoot. I talk about Bigfoot every week.
Every
Bigfoot
week.
loves you, Dio.
Every week. One day I hope to earn that love. Here's my maybe surprising take. Why the fuck do these guys get to have a claim on Bigfoot like this?
Dog,
okay?
everybody can.
No.
They're not saying we're the only ones. It's like a
Disagree.
state being like the official beverage is chocolate milk or whatever. That
Which
doesn't
is
mean another
always
state can't
bullshit.
also be like chocolate. Why?
That's why it's bullshit. Okay, listen, you gotta go. Listen. If you dairy, if you want to be Bigfoot, if you want to have Bigfoot, rename yourself Bigfoot. Bigfoot, Pennsylvania. Then let's talk. Okay, let's fucking talk then. But until then, you guys are just obviously, we're just trying to be cute. Bigfoot, we're just a little cryptid. No. Put your money where your mouth is. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Grant Nicely.
That's why I'll be
Grant Nicely, if you're out there listening, call in.
Yeah, Grant Nicely. I want to hear why
Dio's got
Derry
some words.
deserves Bigfoot, okay? Because I don't think you guys
Dare to
deserve
defend
Bigfoot.
Derry.
Dare to defend Derry. Maybe Dio is Bigfoot. Listen,
I mean,
in my heart and
He
soul, I
advocates
might
a
be.
lot for it. Yeah.
Have you heard that Mitch Hedberg joke about Bigfoot being real and just blurry? Classic joke. Yes. Good morning, Hazard. Welcome in. We're doing good. I'm just getting a little ornery on Bigfoot, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Patrick, I'm gonna kick it over to you.
All right. Well, so as a follow-up to one of the subjects we discussed in episode 2, I believe, the Ghost Hunter star, Jason Hawes, has filed a police report with the West Greenwich Police Department stating that he had received several threatening and harassing text messages from Jacqueline Nunez. You might remember her from the story that we talked about where she had fired an employee at the Real Conjuring House for stealing. She found out that he was stealing because the previous owner, a ghost, had told her he was stealing. Well, she had began sending Jason Hawes extremely vile messages via text.
Wait, is he connected to the house at all?
The way that he's connected is his daughter worked at the house briefly.
Oh, okay.
But that's it. That's the only way. And then maybe he did an episode of Ghost Hunters there at one point. But the reason why that she sent these... Maybe he did an episode. Well, first of all, she sent the messages claiming that he was trying to do an assassination plot, her words, her text, against her. She noticed in surveillance footage, which she then posted to social media, I could not find it though, that a man looking like Jason Hawes was seen leaving her property and going to a truck. So she texted him, "You will someday be prosecuted for your slander and numerous murder attempts on my life, and I will never be defeated or destroyed by any expletive, paranormal person, now or any time in the future."
Do you think he was trying to kill her to make there be a ghost in the house?
Oh, I love that.
Oh.
Is he trying to stir up business for himself?
He's trying to add more ghosts to the repertoire. I see where you're
He's like, you know who the most effective ghost hunter is also a people hunter.
That's right. The kind of hunter that creates more ghosts to hunt.
I mean, people are just pre-ghosts.
Just pre-ghosts, baby.
Also, thank you, Black Market Breast Milk, for the follow. Appreciate you. Welcome in.
Thank you for that name.
And also, thank you for... That's exactly right, every time I say it.
Also, Dee's going to hit you up later to see what the prices are.
Yeah, that's right. True. That's right. Is there a quality? What about whole versus skim milk? I don't know what's going on there. 2%. Never mind. We're getting past this.
Good stuff.
Great stuff. Content, baby.
Wait, whose side are you on in that story, Patrick? I'm curious.
Yeah.
I really don't want to be on the ghost hunter's side. Because
why not, Patrick?
Well, I don't like, because he got caught faking paranormal activity on a live stream of Ghost Hunters. So I'm not about this guy. But also, I don't think it warrants vile texts and assassination plot accusations because she saw another bald dude walking to a truck.
Walk to a truck?
Yeah, like...
Why would you go to a truck if you're not trying to murder somebody?
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Most, many murderers use trucks to get to their murder, to and from their murders.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Pickup trucks are essential murder vehicles.
It is
easy
true.
to hose the blood out of the bed.
I think you're welcome, but I just got hit by an ad break. Lol. Black Market Breast Milk, thank you again. Also, I'll be hitting you up for prices. I think we just ran through the joke real quick. Anyway. When I was working on true crime shows, there were quite a few trucks that I would have to procure, and I've definitely shot reenactments of just bodies going in trucks and in and out and back and forth. So,
that's cool.
For the murderer needs a utility vehicle. Moving on.
Today's stream sponsored by the F-150 Lightning. For when you need to move silently with a bed full of bodies.
Fantastic. So, yeah, moving on to New York Times. This one, you guys are gonna like this one.
I've heard of this one. This
Oh,
publication.
you have?
Well, the
All right.
publication.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Well, you might have heard of this guy too. So, former senior intelligence official Luis Elizondo, maybe, resigned from a Pentagon program that was investigating UFOs in 2017. His disclosures, along with the famous Navy pilot videos and accompanying testimonies, led to the congressional inquiries, legislation, and in that 2023 House hearing, in which another U.S. intelligence official testified that the federal government has retrieved crash objects of a non-human origin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he is releasing a new memoir titled Imminent: Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs,
Hell
where
yeah.
he goes even further, claiming that a super secret umbrella group has retrieved technology and biological remains of non-human origin from crash sites. He's quoted in the book as saying, "Humanity is in fact not the only intelligent life in the universe and not the alpha species."
Ooh.
Right?
Not the alpha. We're getting beta cucked by some aliens here?
I know.
And dolphins.
Well, all right. Yeah, that's true. We don't really got to go too far to find killer whales, dolphins.
Can we zoom in on that guy's tattoos? Elizondo's tattoos.
Are they okay? I was worried about it because I don't know.
It looks like the one on his left arm is a black cat with a 13 under it, which is pretty sick. I can't tell what the right one is. Is that a Statue of Liberty?
It looks like a Statue of Liberty. It says, "I'm coming." There's an AR-15, I believe, right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know about this tattoo. I'm a little worried about the Black Cat 13 tattoo. Don't know what it means. Not sure.
Yeah.
But we're
That's
not
just
gonna.
bad luck. That's
could
just
be.
bad luck.
Scarily looks
Could
like
be.
a prison tattoo.
Yeah, a little bit looks like an affiliate tattoo. But
He's grouped up with someone else than the Pentagon, yeah.
That's right. The super secret organization.
Black Cat 13. It's a 13 people that all have bad luck.
Yeah, it's just the worst luck. You know what? I am right now. The UFO community is collectively edging towards.
Oh, I thought that was just full stop. Period.
There was a half stop there, but because it is true, they're just like, ooh, disclosure, ooh, it's coming, ooh, it's coming. It's not yet. Oh, it's coming. Oh, disclosure's coming. Ooh, not yet. It's been like that for about 3 years, and I just say, fucking just splooge it out and let's find out what's happening. I just want to know.
Splooge out some aliens already. Come
Let's
on.
go. I want to see.
My God.
Do you remember in... Oh, man. I should know what year. 2012? 2016? Part of Hillary Clinton's campaign was she was promising full disclosure on Alien.
Yeah.
I remember at the time being like, what part of her electorate... Like, does she think that's going to bring in
Hillary Clinton.
a significant enough group of people to promise that on the campaign trail?
Listen, everyone knows that that was some bullshit. Hillary Clinton couldn't go full disclosure because then she'd be giving up her reptilian comrades throughout the government.
Shit.
Okay, like you can't. She could talk. She's gonna fucking out the Nords and tall whites, but they you know.
Not the lizard folk.
Yeah, the lizard folk. She's keeping that on the DL.
I'm fine with two-thirds disclosure. It's still good.
I'm telling you,
right? Yeah.
full splooge or
take
not,
that.
or no disclosure. That's all I say. All right, I want it all. I just want it all that sweet alien knowledge. Just. I just want to bask in it. I just want to be covered in that sweet alien knowledge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No. You know,
Shower, just
Just
an
me?
absolute shower,
a golden shower of
sticky
knowledge.
knowledge.
A golden bath of knowledge, yes.
Was Hillary for or against Area 51 raid? Listen, asking the real questions.
Yeah.
Listen, where was she on January? This is how we.
Spaghetti says she has a bunch of Area 51 undisclosed info. She's just in a flash drive in her bag at all times.
I mean, listen, where else are you gonna keep it? Okay, Also, everyone knows flash drive technology came down to us from above.
From aliens.
That's
Yeah.
right.
No, I meant God.
Oh.
Oh, my bad.
I'm kidding. Who's an alien? Mind blown.
Well, I mean, if you're interested in grabbing Elizondo's book, it will be published on August 20th. After a year-long
soon.
review by the Pentagon, they cleared it. Though they said
Oh.
clearing it does not signify endorsement.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So,
If anything, they're saying there are no state secrets here.
Yeah, that's usually what it means. What time is it by me? Right now it is 12:48. We start the show promptly sometime near midnight.
Sorry, PD, do you not have a clock?
Well, you meant by us.
You're like, I wonder what
PD
time it is. I'll go
Spaghetti's-
ask some dudes on Twitch.
He could be halfway across the world. Cookies in Finland.
I know, I'm just being a jerk.
Time is quit being a time jerk. Write that down. Another movie idea. Time
Okay,
jerk.
time jerk.
time jerk.
Time jerks.
That's how they
Just jerking
spoon
through
shit.
time.
Well, here's
Working
a plot for time jerks. Ready? Here's the next
Oh,
one.
hit me.
Okay, hit me.
The Pope is hiding alien secrets in the Vatican.
Finally, the truth.
It's coming.
Finally,
Here we go.
something real.
According to extraterrestrial lobbyist and executive director of the Paradigm Research Group, Steve Bassett, the Pope is hiding extraordinary evidence of alien life in the Vatican archives. He claims that the Catholic Church has been aware for perhaps hundreds upon hundreds of years, even going so far as to say that they would be happy to baptize the alien beings if they wanted it.
I mean, of course.
Hell yeah, dude.
Right? I mean, if they wish to accept it, I love that picture. Holy
They're like,
shit.
as long as
It's
they're
amazing.
tithing, we'll
Look at
splash
that.
water on anyone who's going to give us 10%.
Right? Right?
Oh man,
That
what if they're
picture's
like
amazing.
the aliens from Signs though? You splash water on them, they're done.
Oh, no.
I know.
We're going to have to
Wow.
baptize them in hot
Oil?
air? Oil.
Oh,
Oh, anointing with oil. That's a thing.
Oh, look, it's David Grush.
Grush.
The big
There he
G
is.
himself. The G-man
But,
himself. Yeah, sorry.
Here's the best part. Bassett even claims that in 1933, Italy had uncovered a UFO, and the then Pope Pius the 12th back-channeled the findings to President Franklin Roosevelt,
Oh.
proving that the U.S. knew about alien life before the Roswell incident in 1947.
Damn. That definitely
know.
proves that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's proof. That's
My
proof.
God.
Again, by the logic of this is not a cartoon, this is real.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That image is not animated. And therefore.
All right, we got a couple of good questions. We got, what do you three believe aliens look and act like? Anything similar to movies, books, games, etc.? Black Market Breast Milk says, I think they are like random ass animals on another planet, incapable of space travel. Which hat do you want? Okay,
Yeah.
the Dio who has to like function in a society agrees with you. Okay, you know, like I believe that we're going to find bacterial life or the evidence of former bacterial life on Mars. I think there's a pretty good shot that we'll find some sort of bacterial life on Venus and possibly even Io. I think those things are real and very possible, and that life is closer than we think, but it is not the kind of life that we can have conversations with. Now, when I put on my DOTV hat and start expanding my mind and by extension yours through the power of streaming, I believe they're going to look and they talk exactly like us, but their eyes are going to blink the wrong way and they won't have noses.
I think
You guys?
I think similar
the
to
wrong
what
way
yeah.
feels a little racist towards aliens.
I am
That does feel
I am anthro.
does feel judgy.
Philic? What would you call that?
Opposite
Promotional? Yeah.
Anthrophobic? Oh no, anthrophilic. Yeah,
No,
yeah, you're right.
I fucking Latinized. Okay.
Yeah. I agree. I agree that I think it's exceptionally likely that there are other creatures out there not on this planet. Even other creatures that are more complicated than bacteria. I think it's exceptionally unlikely that any of them is so sufficiently advanced that it can fly around in a ship.
Yeah.
Especially from like at a great distance. That seems highly unlikely. But yeah, there's definitely aliens for sure.
Without a doubt.
Sweet.
That's what I think.
What else? What else we got here? Pope's hiding kids there too. Listen,
Sure.
we're not.
He has to legally.
Sure.
Probably.
There's a lot of tunnels in the Vatican.
The Pope absolutely doing this. They need to be converted. Listen, spaghetti. You know, they will be, assuming they're not the signs aliens. Catholics don't. Solid Snake says Catholics didn't even take Reformation well. Imagine
True.
interstellar competitor. Great point. You know.
Well, that's
why
right.
they're hiding it.
They like so many of our great human institutions really do well when they can be the ones coming in and changing the minds of someone else. They don't do as well when there's pushback.
Yes.
But if they could convert the aliens, they'd be totally on.
Absolutely.
And would you
Jesus
guys
loving aliens, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Speaking of loving aliens, Golden D asks, would you guys procreate with an alien? I think there's a lot.
Fuck yes. Oh my god, that's so hot.
Wow. Without even a moment of hesitation. Fuck yes. So here's the thing, though. I think Golden D, I know Golden D. Shout out to JC. He's a smart guy. He used the word procreate very specifically. I don't think that necessarily means sex in the way that we are enjoyers.
He's not talking
of.
about shooting your hot knowledge.
Right.
into
That's
the
right.
alien.
He's not talking about completion disclosure. Okay,
Yeah,
disclosing all over your partner's face and or
Right.
body. Oh, and I think he's talking about it. Like, what if it's like trout, and you're just
Right.
you're just spooging into a pond of intergalactic goo, and then the
Or just
creatures-
combining your DNAs through
That's right.
science.
right? What if there's no pleasure involved? Would you still do it, Patrick?
Oh, I mean, it'd be less hot, but I'd still do it for science.
You
know what? I envisioned. You remember Galaxy Quest when Monk?
Yeah,
fell in-
yeah,
and then the tentacles
dude.
came out. He was like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, yeah, that's what I envisioned." Yeah,
Sure.
Wait. So you envisioned
tentacle
a
sex with an
okay,
alien.
all right,
Yes,
all right, all
What?
right.
With
I
Tony
don't
Shalhoub
understand.
with Tony Shalhoub? Yeah, you
I'm
envisioned
Tony Shalhoub in this situation. Yes,
Yeah.
I don't fucking understand what's wrong with you.
Yeah, well, I don't understand what the fucking discussion is. You know, why do hieroglyphic pictures? We're just going into question and answer mode, which I'm here for.
Mhm.
Why
Yeah.
do hieroglyphics have pictures of dragons on them?
Oh, because of the dragons.
were real.
Blank
Yeah.
and yeah, because of the dragons.
Dumb
Simple.
question, Petey Spaghetti.
The Stone Age. Why did that get censored? The Stone Age from different tribes all over the world. I don't know what that got censored there. Pope hat is there
Maybe
to
he
hide.
wrote the best users age.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The best users link age. Pope hat is there to hide the elongated Xeno noggin. Agree,
I mean,
Egbert.
probably, yeah.
Agree, Egbert. 1000%.
That's what shape it is, right?
If they were Vulcans or Romulans, sure. Okay, I'm guessing that's the procreating thing. Sure. Okay. Klingons and worse,
Yeah.
I'm out. Klingons, you draw the line at Klingons. Okay. Listen,
You don't want to caress that forehead ridge? Come on, man.
I know, right? Just imagine running your tongue over it.
Ooh, Mr. Worf.
Yeah.
You pour liquor on the top and it would run down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Do
god.
a shot.
What if how the aliens procreated got human male pregnant? Well, in that case, we would be whatever alien female? Actually, I'm not sure how that works biologically then. I guess we would still be male. We'd be like seahorses. And you know what? I'm
Yeah,
here.
I guess it depends on how I'd have to give birth. Is it like
Yeah.
Yeah.
chest burster, or is it
There's a
coming
big
out
exit
Correct.
question there.
Yeah, there's a time commitment and exit question, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If it's gnarlier than a bot fly, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm not
Sorry,
double-pronged
aliens.
like the male Klingon.
If it's like laying an egg like a chicken, I might be able to handle that.
Yeah, if you're like literally pooping it out your butthole, sure.
Yeah,
Just like
exactly. I'd shit an alien out. I mean,
Yeah.
Exit is definitely pie on the arse. Gotcha.
All
Just
right.
like the Randy Marsh. Hot, 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 hot,
hot, hot, hot.
And then you just hear. All right, sorry. I just
Flush
went to a
that
place.
shit.
All right. Is that it for the Week in Weird? Did we do it?
That's what I got. Yeah.
That's it for the Week in Weird, guys. We did it. We did it. Well, guys, that means they say. Hold on. The first. What am I? I'm getting a history lesson in here. They say the first shot at Lexington and Concord was caused by a British soldier after he was startled from seeing a bright, fast beam of light coming towards thine like a saucer flying and swirling. If that is
Who's
true,
they in that scenario?
yeah.
I'm
if
on
that
board.
If that is true, it all goes to show that America was a reptilian strategy from the beginning.
Yeah. From moment one.
Hell yeah. Guys, we're now going to talk about something completely different.
Is it our sponsor, Dio?
Oh, it is our sponsor. Do we have a sponsor?
We have a sponsor. This week.
Oh my
Yeah, dude.
God. Am I
Man,
reading
we are
it? Where-
coming up in the world.
Oh my God.
dude.
Another sponsor. This is like this. Hold on.
We're raking it in these days, boys. We're pulling it down.
Hold on.
We're hitting the big time. I'm gonna buy us all trucker hats, matching trucker hats. I'm gonna commission Egbert to draw a Xeno Pope with a smaller, like a cardinal head on his tongue. I'm gonna print it on trucker hats.
I assume
Get 'em for everybody.
I'm reading 5. Is that correct?
I don't know. Is this episode 5? Probably.
It is 5. You're so
This is
right.
5.
Okay. All right. Before we get
you
to
think I could
our
just do
main
math in my head?
programming, Black Market breast milk. You're going to need to ask that to some of our international folks in chat. There are plenty of them, but I am not sure.
I've seen a
Anyway,
bunch in India. We catch a lot in
there
India.
we do catch a lot in India. Yeah, that is true. All right. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready. Sorry.
Sweet ad. I don't mean to brag, but let me tell you, I'm pretty great. Do you guys know which of my features are generally listed as my best? Guys, what do you
Your
think?
hair, without
Your
a
cute
doubt.
cheeks.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. The cheek, you know what, Jim, thank you for noticing. I think I do love my hair. I think it's the first thing people see. I think the cheeks, thank you. Thank you for
Your
noticing.
smile.
Aw, buddy.
Because it
buddy.
accentuates your cheeks.
Stop it.
Sure.
Stop it. That's right. I'm as strong as an ox. 2 of them.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the right answer. You guys missed it. Strong as a yoke of oxen, but I can't maintain this strength without protein. So here I am, carving a turkey, chopping the beef, beheading a fish, hocking a ham, all with different kinds of specialized knives. And then I get to the table, and I'm expected to use yet another knife to cut the food on my plate. Who can deal with all these knives? Come on. Who can deal
Not
with them?
me.
Can you guys,
Not
Jad?
me.
Can you deal with the knife?
Not one.
Too many knives.
Not me. Not anymore, because I've been using the new game-changing meat machete. Finally, a machete made for meat. You can lop off any carcass. You can lop through any carcass with ease, be it fish, poultry, mammal, other animal type. I've been able to chop clean through every meat I've tried, and I bet I wouldn't have any issues with yours. Plus, once the meal is served, you can use meat machete as your personal dining knife. Nothing brings gravitas to the dinner table like a knife the size of your arm. And when your loved ones aren't looking, you can use meat machete to steal a little bit of their food or knock their whole plate onto their lap. It's a joke. It's fun, it's threatening, and most of all, it's useful. I'll never cut anything with another knife again. Meat machete, another fine product from Unicorp. The only corporation.
Fucking got me with Unicorp again. I love that
Well,
company.
God bless
make
Unicorp.
everything.
They are
They are everything.
They are the only company and the only company we need. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. You know? Thank you. Yes. Thank you once again, Meat Shetty. 1,000 times thank you. And Unicorp. Well, with that out of the way, and thank you for reminding me of our contractual obligations, Jim.
Of course.
It's time to talk about something a little different. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes, if you will, of this broadcast. We're going to be talking about the true crime. Let me try again. We are going to be talking about. Is this live? I'm sorry. Is this live? We're going to be talking.
We'll cut it out in the edit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, nobody will ever see it. We'll cut this out too.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Gypsy Rose Blanchard and the murder of her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard. Now, listen, I feel like for all of my episodes, I have to start with a disclaimer. So we're starting with a disclaimer again, okay? Firstly, it should be stated at the start. All right, I don't know how much. First off, let me just gauge from you guys, because you kind of sort of told me how much of this story are you guys familiar with?
Me?
Either of you?
0.
Yeah. I'm a 25-minute YouTube video aware of this story, pretty much.
Nice.
I didn't know until I knew we were doing this what this was about.
This is first off, for like our loyal listeners, this is like the first of a true crime episode that we're doing. We haven't done true crime before. We mostly have been doing kind of the goofier stuff. This one's going to be a little more serious. I am going to put a disclaimer up on top for a couple of things. First off, this story deals a lot with child abuse and deals a lot with pretty heavy topics. Okay, I'm going to do my best to not linger in those topics too long, but for purposes of stating the facts, I will be going over some of those things. Secondly, as I want to make very clear, because there are no heroes in this story, I believe. I don't believe there are any heroes in this story. Dee Dee Blanchard is a victim in this story and a perpetrator in this story. Gypsy Rose, I believe, is a victim and a perpetrator. Now, you can, after this, I go through everything, you guys can have your own conclusions about her culpability or her level, whatever. But just know they're both victims. They're both. There's a lot of cycles of abuse, I think, is a thing to think about when discussing this thing. I know we've veered way into serious topics. I hope there will be a little humor in this, just because for entertainment purposes. But I think this is such a strange case that we're worth looking into for our purposes here at the Weekly Weird.
If you have any off-color jokes, make sure you call in, though.
For real. For absolutely. Please type them in the chat. It'll be great. Secondly, I will say my sources for this did like heavily rely on the word of Gypsy Rose herself. She's very complicated.
Aren't we all?
Like I said, we're all multitudes. But like I said, she's definitely a victim herself. She also orchestrated a crime, and again, I have my own personal thoughts about this. I'll get towards the end. But she served her time. She was released. Whether or not you believe she truly atoned for what she did, I leave that up to you. I'm going to present the case. You guys come to your own conclusions. I will let you know what I think when we get to the appropriate time. Okay? So that's all of my disclaimers. Let us begin. Dun, dun. On June 14th, 2015, Greene County Sheriff's Department got a call to check on the well-being of Dee Dee Blanchard and her special needs daughter, Gypsy Rose. Dee Dee and Gypsy had moved to Springfield, Missouri after their home was destroyed by Hurricane Katrina, and the community had quickly embraced the displaced single mother and her child. Friends had noticed some disturbing Facebook messages posted on Dee Dee's page and were understandably quite upset. I will show you guys what those were all about. This is what they saw. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Well, I've redacted it a little bit, but it's that the bitch is dead was the initial post. This is Dee Blanchard is Dee Dee and Gypsy Rose's Facebook account.
Always a good sign when a child and parent have the same Facebook account.
Yeah, that's already a bit of a you're jumping ahead a little bit, but yes. Obviously people are upset. These are all folks. What, did your Facebook get hacked? You know, that was a thing normally. And then this really was the one that set it off. Really got people concerned. I fucking slashed that fat pig and her sweet innocent daughter and did assaulted her sweet innocent daughter. Her scream was so something loud. I forget what it was, but it was it's heckin', sure. But yeah, so people saw this on the Facebook and clearly something was wrong. So they called the police.
I would be worried about that.
Right? I mean, the question is, considering this is the thing that got people to call the police on these two. I might say that there might have been a few other reasons to call the police or beforehand. And maybe if the police were called earlier, a lot of this would have been avoided. But anyway, I digress. When police arrived at the scene, they discovered a grisly murder. Dee Dee was lying on her blood-soaked bed, and she had been stabbed 17 times. I have seen the pictures. The pictures are in the HBO documentary, which I will be talking about off and on. They're pretty grim. They actually just recently went viral again. Like, people forgot how grisly the murder was. And like, there's been this whole kerfuffle. But again, I get a little bit ahead of myself. It's hard when talking about this case not to, like, you know, if you already know where it's going, not to think ahead on it. So for folks who haven't necessarily heard about this, you know, we're going on a journey, okay? But yeah, so the police find Dee Dee's dead body, but they don't find Gypsy. Now, Gypsy, for what people thought, she needs a feeding tube. She's in a wheelchair. She has leukemia. She has all of these ailments. So immediately, you know, we have a dead mother and a missing daughter. The cops, at this point, that's all they know. And so they immediately go into investigating this. Now, I'm going to step back a little bit and kind of describe who Dee Dee was and how we ended up at this grisly murder scene. Dee Dee was born in Missouri. She met Ron Blanchard, who, you know, when he was 17 and she was 23, in a bowling alley. Dee Dee quickly became pregnant through the interactions between the two, and they got married
through
right
disclosure.
quick. Through disclosure, right? They had a disclosure of their own, and it being the South, they got married right away on December 27th, 1990. However, the marriage wouldn't last. Again, it was the kind of thing, you know, Rod later said he got married for the wrong reasons. because it was just the thing he had to do. It was very classic, like old school. Hey, you get a lady pregnant, you got to marry the lady. I don't know if that's so much of a thing nowadays, but it definitely, we're talking about
in some circles. It certainly is.
Sure. And I would guess that even in like Missouri, and at this point this was in Louisiana. I kind of skipped a little bit of the preamble, but she's they're in Louisiana. It's like Bayou, Slidell, New Orleans, even further south. Like if you listen to Ron Blanchard talk, he sounds like Gambit from he sounds like Channing Tatum Gambit, like full on just Creole, the whole thing. I can't even do it. Patrick, do you have a good Gambit voice?
Go ahead and try.
No, I want you to try.
Well, I'm pregnant, her, and then we get married in.
Yeah, I think you got it right there.
By an alligator.
But yeah, that's right. You don't want to be doing that. My favorite thing. Sorry, I'm getting way ahead. But his second wife sounds exactly like him. Like they have the same voice. And I just never mind. Anyway, the beautiful language, beautiful dialect. Anyway, however, the marriage wouldn't last. Like I said, shortly before their daughter was born, the two separated. Rod said he got married for the wrong reasons, and yada yada yada. According to Rod, Dee Dee was into dark stuff, which I'm not gonna lie, sounds kind of like she was kind of groovy. I mean,
yeah, welcome to the Weekly Weird.
Yeah, welcome to the Weekly Weird. She sounds like a Weekly Weird listener. Exactly. And viewer. It's like she was into dark things like witchcraft and had a pet tarantula that was like used. I love like documentaries whenever they're trying to like paint people as fucking warped. Like after the fact, they always point to just like groovy shit that they were into. Anyway, but Dee Dee Blanchard was definitely we'll say not a good person.
I was like, she went to the botch reunion.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
and you're like, oh, I missed it.
Right. So she, this is Rod, by the way. This is a later picture, obviously after Gypsy was born, but this is what Rod looks like.
That's Gypsy.
Yeah, that's Gypsy. So after seeing how, and also after seeing how Rod acts, I binge watched Life After Lockup, and Rod is all over it, and he does seem like a good Christian boy, and so like any kind of spooky stuff, I think would have set him off. So they weren't a good match. Gypsy Rose Alcida Blanchard was born July 27th, 1991 in Golden Meadow, Louisiana. Rod and Dee Dee named their daughter Gypsy Rose because Dee Dee liked the name Gypsy, and Rod, can anyone guess why her second name is Rose? Somebody guess.
Because he loved it when the undead rose from the ground in Return of the Living Dead.
No, as stated, he was kind of not into the spooky stuff. Patrick, you got a guess?
I know you could. A Rose fan.
You are not wrong.
Oh, Pete Rose? Pete Rose?
He was a fan of Guns N' Roses.
Cool. Cool.
It seems like maybe Dee Dee was hoping that after the birth of the daughter, Rod would return, but that didn't happen. Dee Dee, when it didn't happen, Dee Dee took Gypsy to live with her family, and Rod was left with occasional visits. Now,
you know what they say to you? Spare the rod, spoil the child. That's where it all went wrong.
I liked it.
Thank you.
You're well done.
I'm drinking a bathtub of white wine, so we're on.
2/3 of the way through a bottle of Zinfandel.
Pinot Grigio, all right.
Wow.
Sorry.
You're a man of class. You're a man of
Pinot
class.
Grigio. They're aliens. Redemption.
There's a gray wine. According to Rod, Dee Dee claimed Gypsy suffered from Dee Dee told him that Gypsy suffered from sleep apnea from when she was just 3 months old. So already immediate red flag. From then on, Dee Dee would claim Gypsy had a whole host of other ailments, including asthma, epilepsy, muscular dystrophy, and leukemia. That is just a sprinkling of it. But yeah,
That's a sprinkling.
That's not even all of it. Oh,
Like,
it gets wild, dude. What was the next one? Yeah, so here is a list of what Gypsy wrote, or what Dee Dee thought
Look at the header
Gypsy
on
Rose.
that. Just a side note.
Yeah.
Right.
Who would caps lock that with that font?
Right?
For
She's
real.
trying to make it look nice too, which is such a weird thing. But if you can't read this list, because
It says diagnosis.
yeah, there's a
God.
few spelling errors. We got
there's a
epilepsy, vision impaired, hearing impaired, GI reflux, quadriplegia, muscular dystrophy, anemia, hypoventilation, with a CPAP in parentheses, age 10, asthma, allergies, mild mental retardation, apologies for the term, leukemia, incontinence, lung disease, heart murmur. Okay, it's and this is, she's saying she has all of these things. Okay,
Also,
and
most of those are really specific, but lung disease is not.
right, she has asthma and lung disease.
Yeah.
Right. And never mind, she has she's putting incontinence down.
Yeah.
Which is just not a thing.
Way to sell out your daughter.
Right? That's also true. My daughter has
She's got a bunch of diseases. Also, she pisses her pants.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Wow. It's actually, a little bit jumping ahead. She would when she would take Gypsy to the many doctors that she would end up taking her, she would hold her ears and say to the doctors so that Gypsy couldn't hear it. But it's can you imagine? Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Dee Dee might be described as suffering from a mental disorder called facetious disorder imposed upon another, or commonly referred to as Munchausen by proxy. Someone with Munchausen syndrome can be thought of as somebody as an extreme hypochondriac, to the point where they either convince themselves or in some cases give themselves a debilitating disease. They do this in order to gain attention. It's it's not like a con. It's not like an active con where the person is thinking, well, if I can get money, I'll fake an illness. No, it's the other way around. It's, oh, I must have an illness, and everybody's treating me a certain way because I have that illness. I really like that attention. It's fulfilling an emotional need. Munchausen
Can you Munchausen the other way?
How do you
Can
mean?
you be can you be like, I'm the fastest runner in the world, and then Munchausen into being a faster runner?
I don't know.
Is Munchausen the same as manifestation? It's just negative manifestation.
It might
you believe
be.
so bad that your bowels don't work that they just give up.
I mean, it might be. It might very well be.
We should hit up Oprah. She's got the secrets.
So Munchausen by proxy is extending that idea to someone else. So very often it's a caregiver or a mother who tries to convince everybody that their child or whoever they're taking care of has a whole host of diseases in order to gain attention for themselves. Now, that's
Sure.
the important part. It is so that they get a certain amount of attention, that they're getting inner inner emotional need met because of it. Edgy, that is a great question. And I think if you would give me a little bit of time, I think that actually gets answered. Because I think for 1,000% she knew that Gypsy wasn't sick. So risk factors for developing Munchausen by proxy include pregnancy-related complications, as well as a mother who might have been abused as a child. I bring this up because if Gypsy's 2024 claim, she just recently came out with a book, memoirs. She just got out of prison, so she just kind of has been doing this media blitz. But as part of that media blitz, she's brought up that her mother may have been abused by her father, Claude, and that, and according to Gypsy, Claude abused both Gypsy and Dee Dee during a period when they were living together. And so this might be where that stuff came from. Claude is actually in the HBO documentary. He sits down and talks with them, and there is no love lost in that family. He claims that Dee Dee was a wanted criminal for cashing bad checks and credit card fraud. He claims that Dee Dee's mother, Emma, was just like Dee Dee, and that the two of them would steal from laundromats and from family members. That
What do you steal from a laundromat? Like other people's clothes?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
clothes and quarters, baby.
Yeah,
all right.
Clothes and quarters. And it was like in the documentary, Rod's second wife, who sounds exactly like him, claims that Dee Dee eventually ended up taking care of her mother, Emma, when she was older. Like, so she was the caregiver to her older mother. And kind of different than what happened with Gypsy, she neglected her mother to the point of like not feeding her, basically, so that her mother would like waste away and then eventually died. It's like in the documentary, they just plainly, like, a handful of family members stated, like, she just let her mother die and waste away. So needless to say, like I said, there's no love lost for Dee Dee and the family. When she died and was cremated, her father even went so far as to say, flush her down the toilet. That's
God damn.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Dee Dee was not looked on fondly. And this is, they're describing Dee Dee before anything happening with Gypsy. Now they're talking about it after the fact, but it's interesting because normally you expect like the victim of a crime, yeah. I've seen this a lot working on true crime documentaries, where the and just watching them too. It's like the people always are talking about how good the people were, how about all, this and that. And there's almost none of that when it comes to Dee Dee Blanchard. Mema, what's up? Welcome in. Hell yeah. I do recommend.
How you going?
I will recommend the HBO documentary. I think it's good. It's called Mommy Dead and Dearest. I think it's pretty good. But anyway, continue on. At some point, Dee Dee stopped registering Gypsy for school. So, like, already at a young age, she's claiming that Gypsy has this problems with her lungs, and there's like an incident where actually I think it's Claude, where Dee Dee gets is riding with Claude on a motorcycle, and they get in a little bit of an accident, and Dee Dee or Gypsy basically sounds like she like skinned her knee or just got like kind of a bad cut from falling off the motorcycle, and Dee Dee used that as an excuse to say, "Oh, Gypsy, you need a wheelchair now," and like got her a wheelchair and made her sit in the wheelchair. And that was like the first time where like she would tell Gypsy, "Oh, you can't walk." Okay. And there's the HBO documentary has this really like heartbreaking home videos. Cause keep in mind too, Dee Dee would take videos of them all the time. There's so much video of all of them. This is like a very documented life the two of them had. And you would just see these heartbreaking videos of a bunch of kids playing like in a gym class, and they're like dancing around, and this Gypsy just lying on the ground with them. And you can kind of tell she's looking up and she wants to join in with the kids, but like her mom's definitely watching her, and she's not supposed to use her legs.
Is there like a threat of punitive action, right? Like her mom's sitting her in a wheelchair and saying, "You now are in a wheelchair and you can't walk," but she can walk. So why is she going along with that?
That is a thing. And I think I'll get to that. I'll get more into that later.
Okay.
There is this threat of her physical abuse, and like, I mean, where's a good picture? I mean, you can kind of see in this picture, like, not a single one.
Yeah. I don't know if any of these pictures are going to be good pictures.
This is maybe not the best example of what I'm talking about, but like, Dee Dee is just physically so much bigger than Gypsy.
Oh, sure.
You know, so, and especially when she's 5 years old. And also, it's like, you're a kid, you just want to implicitly trust your parents, right? Like, there's something built hardwired in there. So.
Yeah, but I feel like if your parents are like, you can't do a thing that you know you can do.
Well, that's ultimately,
there's like at least a cognitive dissonance there.
Oh, absolutely. And that's absolutely what ended up leading to Dee Dee Blanchard's death, right?
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure.
At some point, Dee Dee stopped registering Gypsy for school, and instead opted for homeschool with the excuse that Gypsy's illnesses were just too severe. This obviously is another way that Dee Dee could keep control of Gypsy and perpetuated this fantasy that she was sick. But the quality of this homeschooling is certainly, at the very least, lacking. She, God damn it, every time, Patrick, every goddamn time, except for that thing. When asked later in court, Gypsy claims that she only received up to a 2nd grade education. That's when she stopped going to school. And she claims later that she taught herself how to read on her own with Harry Potter books. Not exactly sure how, but that's what she says.
I mean, by 2nd grade, you've got a basis in reading.
Yeah, it's unclear because I don't know whether she meant that the homeschooling just lasted till 2nd grade, or
I see.
There's some discrepancy there because it's not clear whether she actually went to a school past kindergarten.
I see.
So as Gypsy grew up, Rod would visit on occasion and be stunned by the ever-increasing amount of ailments that Gypsy seemed to have. And when he questioned Dee Dee, she'd reply that a chromosomal disorder was the root cause of all of these different ailments. And she went so far as to say, like, Gypsy is never going to live past her teenage years. So the father is just being told that. And again, keep in mind, he's like a young guy. Like, again, they had the kid when he was 18. I don't want to cast aspersions. He seems like a nice fellow. I believe that he was legitimately tricked by Dee Dee, but he didn't live nearby there, and I don't think he had the kind of, he just didn't think about it. He just thought that Dee Dee was telling him the truth. I don't think he thought, he didn't have the capacity to think about, well, a mom would do this to a daughter. Like, right. It's such a weird idea. And so, and like I said, they didn't really live next to each other or something. His frontal lobe wasn't fully developed. Fuck it. I didn't say that. I didn't fucking say that. Listen, now down on the bayou, there's a different kind of schooling you get.
Well, she got the chromosomal disorder from somewhere.
Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, that's, I wonder about that though, because I could definitely imagine Dee Dee being like, you did this, you know?
I mean, that's what that sounds like if she's saying, like, the issue is with her chromosomes. Yeah. That definitely feels accusatory to me.
Yeah. So yeah, so she said
she was accusing him of not disclosing all of his information.
yeah, he didn't have a full disclosure. He just had
Yeah.
half a disclosure.
Yeah.
So she told Rod that Gypsy would never live past her teenage years, and perhaps in an effort to maintain that lie, she started claiming that Gypsy was younger than she actually was on documents. She basically forged documents, and later Gypsy would say that she had like 3 or 4 different versions of Gypsy's birth certificate with different dates. It's wild. And she would force Gypsy to act younger than she actually was. Like, she would encourage her to do this kind of juvenile act. She even convinced Rod that Gypsy's mental capacity was 4 or 5 years behind a healthy girl. And in the documentary, Rod claims that he was told not to tell Gypsy she was 18 on her 18th birthday. Like, he called her up to congratulate her for her birthday. And Dee Dee was like, well, don't tell her that she's 18. And he's like, well, what do you mean she's 18? And Dee Dee's like, well, she thinks she's 14. And again,
Rod should have been questioning some stuff. Rod should have been.
I
know he wasn't involved, but Rod should have gotten involved.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a interesting. It's all very interesting. I do think that there's some guilt there, that he was not more involved. But
sure, yeah, I bet. But like,
Rod for sure.
If your partner who's raising your ex-partner, even a stranger, if anyone is raising a child, and you know that child's age, and they're like, don't tell them how old they are, because they don't know that.
Weird. Yeah,
There's something you should tell that child. That child deserves to know how old they are. Yeah. They deserve to know what year they were born, and someone should look into what's going on.
Right. Yeah,
the public service announcement.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's good. What the fuck kind of name is Gypsy? Listen, great question. Great question too. Okay. Not a great one, we'll say. The age theme seems like a huge red flag. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Listen, the culpability of Rod is interesting.
Is the name of my new novel.
Yeah.
The culpability of Rod.
True crime night. Kind of a downer after watching Alien Romulus. Well, sorry, buddy. I don't know what to tell you.
You missed the xenomorph section.
Yeah, you did miss the alien section. You got here late.
Pope.
That's right.
I mean, it was pretty great.
So by the time of Dee Dee's murder, it even took the police weren't even sure how old Gypsy was. Like, it took a while to actually figure it out. According to the documentary, from 2005 to 2014, Dee Dee brought Gypsy to local hospitals over 100 times, which begs the question, right? Like, why didn't any doctor raise the alarm? Like, how could she? Yeah, this goes to show. It speaks to how Dee Dee ran her manipulation game, and it also goes to show how easily the medical system actually can be abused. Okay, sure. This is not like Dee Dee Blanchard is not the only one who has committed medical fraud, and won't be the last person who's committed medical fraud. But depending on the doctor that she was seeing, so if she took Gypsy to a cardiologist, she would tell the doctor, hey, when the doctor asked, do you guys have any family history of heart attacks or strokes or whatever? She would tell him exactly that. Yes, everybody in my family had heart attacks and died. Like, it would be that level. And so, like, she would already put the doctor in this kind of position of, like, oh, this is a person with pre-existing conditions, of mental, a family history of something. Like, I can't ignore this right away, right? You can't just say, well, no, you don't, for those kind of illnesses, right? And that's how it kind of started.
Dave makes a great point. Missouri, that's why they have so many meth labs, man, because everyone just minds their own business in Missouri.
That's right. We do have...
They leave everyone alone.
We do have a man on location in Missouri who can attest to how Missouri is. The
Oh my God.
at some point, so she would go from doctor to doctor, and like what she's trying to do initially is just start to build a medical history that suits her purposes,
Sure.
right? So at some point she found a doctor who kind of went along with this stuff. His name is Dr. Robert Beckerman. And he was like worked in like the sleep studies. I forget exactly where it was, but he's very early on. He was a doctor who saw Gypsy, who kind of went along with it, and kind of began to create this medical trail. Money talks and abuse walks. That is absolutely true. I do think in this instance, like, Dee Dee is not coming from a place of money. Like, these are folks coming, like, straight living on the bayou. Not a whole lot. Like, you know.
They're stealing shirts from the laundromat.
Yeah, they're stealing shirts from
Yeah.
the laundromat. I think it was more of a case that Dee Dee really had a way of... she just, like, she took a lot of shots, and she only had to make a handful of them before it started to build momentum, you know? So eventually, like, she builds enough of a medical history around her and around Gypsy, you know, like I said, that kind of huge list of ailments, to the point where this is, I don't know if you guys can see what this is. This is what her medicine cabinet looked like.
Oh, that's crazy.
These are all the medications and medicines that were found inside the home after Dee Dee's death. It over the course of 14 years, it would have made any pharmacist take note. I mean, these prescriptions would often induce the kinds of symptoms that they would treat. Like, if you're taking enough medication, you're having side effect over side effect over side effect. And now you're presenting symptoms to a doctor. So it just continues and continues and continues, you know. It's like if you get treated for one thing and it's like, "Oh, you have, you know, it makes you shit." Now you have IBS, you know. Now that person has IBS. You know, that's the way it would kind of work.
Okay.
More horrifyingly is that Dee Dee somehow was able to convince doctors to insert a feeding tube into Gypsy, one that she absolutely did not need. This
Based
tube,
on what?
I could not find out how that happened. Like, I have no idea. I presume that there's more. She, like I said, would basically use the symptoms that Gypsy was having for medications to prove other illnesses, and it would just cycle and cycle and cycle. And again, like, the one listen, you just got to find the one doctor who's just like, sure, whatever, you know, the kind of doctor who's going to write you a script no matter what. You know, they exist.
With the prescription pad.
Yeah, like those exist. That's why we have a fucking, you know, opioid problem in this country. It's like, you know, there's again, the medical system is shockingly easy to abuse, and this is evidence of it.
I gotta get in on this.
Don't incriminate yourself, all right?
I don't have anywhere near that number of drugs in my house. You know. I gotta start working on it.
Well, first you gotta get yourself a drug closet, and then you gotta fill that drug closet. But yeah, so the thing about the the feeding tube, I think initially you're like, what the fuck? But I just think about it for a second. A feeding tube is something that you have to replace every 6 months.
Ugh.
So that means you're going every 6 months to a hospital. And as Gypsy describes it, it's a surgical procedure you have to have every 6 months. And unlike other surgical procedures, it's an incredibly painful one. It's because they don't give you anesthesia for it. So they're literally ripping a tube out of you and putting a new one in. and she had to do that. I think she got the feeding tube. She describes it as one of her earliest surgeries. So she had it inside her for at least, I think more, obviously more than 5 years. I think more about 10 years she's at least had it in. And just so every 6 months you're doing that. And that's just the start of it. Okay? Because
Theo, I hate this story.
it's not good, dude. It's really
not
not
have a good
good.
time, Dio.
Listen, I'm sorry.
I thought
all right?
this was a fun show.
This
Fuck,
started
man.
off. This started off with a woman being stabbed 17 times. This is a true crime. I warned you guys. We'll never. If nobody likes this, we'll never do it again. But here we are.
I just need a bathtub full
Can
of
we
booze
talk
next
about
time.
Bigfoot now? Yeah,
Dude, it's
exactly.
not helping, Jim. It's just not helping. I wish it was doing more.
Additionally, and the other thing about the feeding tube, sorry, not to belabor the feeding tube for too much, but the feeding tube also made it so that Dee Dee could medicate Gypsy when she was sleeping without her knowledge. So now there's the medications you know you're taking, now there's the medications you don't. So on top of that, Dee Dee convinced doctors that Gypsy needed to have her salivary glands removed for excess drooling.
Who are these doctors?
I don't know, man. But she was able to have it happen, and it's why sometimes when you see, especially the earlier interviews, she like licks her lips a lot, is because she doesn't have all of her salivary glands. And so she's like making this gesture. And you also got to think too, it's like this weird gesture. It's like further isolating her from anybody else. Like if she ever found herself having a conversation with another person, she's doing this repeated.
She's acting weird, yeah.
This weird action, and like that it is just distancing yourself. So it's just like it's insane on so many levels. Why are the doctors not running their own tests before removing glands? I know. Is
every medical professional involved in the story being investigated currently?
I hope so. I hope so, but honestly, I don't. That's
the HBO documentary I
really don't know. I mean, there is a documentary about the opioid crisis, which is very fascinating, which touches a lot about this. But like, yeah, I had exactly the same questions when doing the research. I tried to find answers for this, but at very little points did I get answers. So on top of that, so without the saliva that she would normally have, and because of a side effect of one of the anti-seizure medications that she was taking, her teeth decayed to the point where I mean, you could kind of tell in these pictures, like she's like missing her front teeth there.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and so eventually she like had to have a bridge put in. And I'm actually glad that we go back to these pictures, right? Because
I'm so
this
glad.
is all happening, and then this is the image that Dee Dee's presenting everybody, right? So it's wild. It's absolutely wild. Additionally, Dee Dee shaved Gypsy's head using the excuse that because she had leukemia and was going to lose her hair because of treatments, that might as well keep it clean. Might as well.
Did she put her through chemo?
No, she
Oh
didn't.
my God,
I don't think she actually got chemo. I think you would have to have.
So nice of Dee Dee.
I think she only told other people, and told Gypsy that she had leukemia, but I don't think that they were. I don't think that there was like a. I don't think that any doctor ever believed that. I think I will say this too. There is a certain line, right, where like some diseases, somebody runs a blood work and they're like, no, you absolutely do not have that thing.
Sure.
And then there are some things that they can't easily do that on. And, have to go off the word of family history, like I said, or, some kind of claims. You'll see later, I'm kind of just running through the list of horrible shit. We're going to get rid of that, and then we're going to talk about how she got kind of away with it later. But this is kind of all this thing. Who is this nutcase? Fucking Dee Dee Blanchard is... This is why I said she's a victim of a crime. She was murdered. This is all the This is what they call mitigating circumstances in a U.S. court of law. This is all the mitigating circumstances. So Dee Dee also continued to feed Gypsy Pediasure well into her 20s. So if you don't know, Pediasure
that's fine.
Is like it's typically a supplement for children. So.
Oh wait, I'm thinking of Pedialyte. I was like, I know a lot of people that drink that in their 20s, but that's actually that's different.
In an interview with the HBO documentary, Gypsy claims that despite knowing that she didn't need the wheelchair because she obviously could walk, she just trusted her mother kind of implicitly. Dee Dee would also resort to physical means to keep Gypsy in line. This is what we were talking about earlier. But not always in an overtly abusive ways. In those home movies that I talked about, you can see Dee Dee constantly like holding Gypsy's hand or arm around her, or like all these things. There's a lot of physical contact there. And Gypsy would claim that if she had ever said anything that wasn't quite right, Dee Dee would like squeeze her hand or do those kind of things. And like in a like without outing my parents were very nice to me. They did not have Munchausen by proxy, but like my parents definitely squeezed the shoulder if I ever got a little out of line. You know what I mean? Or just was like, I grew up in the age of a little tap upside the head, as a thing.
Yeah.
Probably not a thing that parents do now anymore, but
they do. I bet you still get a kick in the shin if you're saying something rude at dinner and grandma's like visiting or whatever, right.
Something like that. No, I think they all talk about their feelings now. I don't know. Parents can sound off in the comments, but that's you gotta understand, like, this is like in service to this incredible abusive lie, right? And similarly, like, you see these pictures, like I think that one where I was showing you, like, where this like big bear hug this woman could give this like very tiny child, or in this case, I think in this picture, this Gypsy is like 17, something like that. Like, it kind of it distorts that like motherly affection in this really kind of twisted way. There was also like behind closed doors. So that was what she would do, like, as if people were watching behind closed doors. Gypsy claimed that Dee Dee would hit Gypsy with a coat hanger, like over the hand, as a means of discipline. And there is other signs that Dee Dee was more physically abusive. You mean 13? I don't think she's 13 in this photo. She looks like she's 13.
Cookie's saying because she thinks her age is 4 years younger.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Or 13 according to her. Yeah, exactly. So to be clear, people with Munchausen syndrome, either by proxy or not, are not doing this because they're setting out to con people for money or goods. Okay, like, but that ended up being an end result of what Dee Dee was doing. Okay, so. Eventually, she found out that she could use Gypsy's conditions to get monetary goods. And in 2003, she was living in Slidell, and she was able to convince an organization called Children's Wish Endowment that Gypsy had all these ailments. And this is like a kind of Make-A-Wish kind of foundation. They were like special guests at the organization's Christmas feasts. And, in the article that was written up about it, it had said that they were already given like a trip to Disney World, and that she was like swimming with dolphins, and that she had already had wishes come true, i.e., these kind of all expensive paid trips. Eventually, the two of them moved to New Orleans, where they both lived in public housing. Because Dee Dee's not working. She's claiming she has to be a caretaker to her sick child. She's collecting child support checks because Rod is like, it seems like a pretty responsible guy. So he's sending
in
her
some ways.
Sure. But he's sending her $1,200 a month. Then she's collecting whatever government assistance for her child with special needs. Like she's just collecting money, and then she's living in public housing. She's just living basically off of the system. And then she's going to these other organizations that are not government organizations, charitable organizations, and saying, hey, she would go to an organization that focus on people with feeding tubes and said, hey, like my daughter has a feeding tube, and they would make her, child of the year for that. And then they would get another trip, and they would get another thing, and some of these trips would just perpetuate the medical fraud. Hey, I need a trip to go to Florida for a specialist. Can I stay at the Ronald McDonald House? Or I need to go to Kansas City for this. Can I, stay here? And she would get those things paid for all the time. Now, this continued. But then in 2005, while she was living in New Orleans, what happens in 2005 in New Orleans? Hurricane Katrina. Okay, so if you thought this wasn't already sad, now we've just added a horrible natural disaster to this story. Yep. So the aliens came down with Katrina. Tari, can I get your attention back?
Yeah. You're killing my buzz, bro.
Hurricane Katrina happens. They lose their house. They end up moving into a shelter for people with special needs. And they stay there for 3 months. It's there that Dee Dee gets the idea to move back to Missouri from a doctor who was at that shelter. Now, with Katrina having happened, Dee Dee also has an excuse for discrepancies in the medical record. She now can say, oh, I lost everything in the storm. There's no medical records of this. Like, I don't have anything. I don't know. We don't have the right birth certificate. We have nothing. So she now can claim there's a clean slate and nobody can track that down. So they first moved to Aurora, Missouri, where Gypsy was honored by the Oli Foundation, an organization that advocates for the rights of feeding tube recipients. And then in 2008, Habitat for Humanity literally built them a house. They got a house with a large ramp. It was like a house that accommodated for Gypsy's special needs, with a large ramp and like light switches that were lower on the ceiling, and it was designed specifically for them, or for what they. I mean, yeah. It's at
Habitat. That's nice of Habitat.
It's nice of Habitat.
They're good people.
Yes.
Yeah, Habitat
good people
doing the right
Let's all
thing.
focus for a minute
heroes.
on somebody nice.
yeah. Habitat did the right thing. For all they knew, these people were exactly who they say they were.
Yeah. They made a house custom fit to their needs.
That's right. To each their needs, right? Anyway, this would be the home that Dee Dee would be found dead in 7 years later. Up until her death, like I said, Dee Dee and Gypsy would also receive tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations, contributions. And like I said, I mentioned the free trips to Disney World. She would go to Miranda Lambert concerts a lot of times. They stay at Ronald McDonald houses during medical appointments, flights to hospitals, other donations. And again, Rod would continue paying child support. So, at this point now, Dee Dee is, I just read that comment. It totally threw me off. Yeah, Dee Dee summoned Katrina for this. But yeah. So she's just collecting money at this point. but they're still, they still have to maintain an illusion of, needing this subsistence and all of that stuff. And, Dee Dee was definitely a hoarder. You could tell from pictures of the house, which I did not include because most of them are graphic. They just hoarded stuff, and it just had, there was other external manifestations of her mental illness, if you will. So, for after years and years of this, to your point earlier, Jim, eventually the cognitive dissonance for Gypsy starts to become too much. And she starts, acting out in ways, and including like trying to convey to doctors what's going on, kind of trying to convey to people online what's going on. And she actually had a few chances to escape long before her mother died. And the first came in the form of a doctor, Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein, which I cannot say correctly. He was a neurologist in Springfield. Dee Dee brought Gypsy in, claiming that Gypsy had muscular dystrophy, a very testable disease. But after examining Gypsy and thinking there's no fucking way she has it, he contacted her previous doctor in New Orleans, who, surprise, surprise, still had their medical records because that was just bullshit.
So she kind of did summon that.
She kind of did, exactly. Gypsy's previous doctors... Yeah, also very visible muscular dystrophy, 1,000%. In fact, he's interviewed in the HBO documentary, and he's just like, yeah, you would expect somebody who didn't use their legs ever to have like no muscle mass on their legs. She had like smaller muscle mass, but she still definitely could use her legs. So he contacts the previous doctor. The doctor was like, no, we like did a biopsy just because she was paying for it, and we didn't find anything. So she took Gypsy and left. Like she went to go find another doctor who would. So based on all of this, Dr. Flasterstein actually, or Steen, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, he actually wrote down in his notes, like, Dee Dee is a bad historian, like, which is basically doctor speak for Dee Dee is lying. Yeah. He wrote down, like, I suspect there's a case of Munchausen by proxy here. Like, he literally calls it out. This is in 2008. Or 2009. No, 2008. This is when they were in Springfield. So
this is as the market was crashing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So he writes this down in his notes. But, clearly this appointment that he has with Dee Dee doesn't go Dee Dee's way. So Dee Dee, suspecting that something is going on, like, gets basically their caseworker or liaison with the hospital to give her the medical files, sees these notes, and goes and bolts and never comes back. But Dr. Flasterstein doesn't necessarily give up there. He brought up his suspicions to other doctors and tried to say, hey, there's a problem here. And the other doctor said, we'll wait. Like, these two, because they're so involved with all of these organizations, and there's a lot of political power behind them, they treat them with golden gloves. They're already part of this kind of like charity publicity machine. So,
the way we engage with celebrity is so insane.
I know, it is wild. It is absolutely wild. I mean, this was a story.
They're like, no, she's famously sick.
Right. That's exactly right. She's famously sick, and we can't jeopardize that. Too many organizations think, that would make them all look bad. You can't do that. That's basically what it seems like. That's what happened. At least according to Dr. Flasterstein himself. That's how he justifies, like, nothing coming up of what he did. However, the police got an anonymous tip shortly after the appointment.
A flaster tip.
Someone called the police about Dee Dee's apparent frauds, and the
Dr.
police...
Flasterstein.
Someone, listen, you never saw that someone and Dr. Flasterstein in the same room, so it's unclear.
Could have been anybody.
But the police did do a wellness check on Gypsy Rose and Dee Dee. Dee Dee was able to convince the officers that the discrepancies, like, because what he brought up was like, hey, they have all these documents that say this girl is one age and another age, and they don't make sense. There's a fraud going on. So they looked into the fraud, and Dee Dee used the excuse, no. The reason why I do this is because I'm trying to hide from my abusive ex. So she basically throws Rod under the bus and says, oh, he's abusive and trying to follow us, and so I'm trying to hide. And then,
by letting him know what my address is so he can send me $1,200.
Exactly. It's wild. I like the cop who showed up. I want to talk to that guy. I want to know why. Because he and the cops see Gypsy, and Gypsy, I don't know how much video you've seen of Gypsy. She has this incredibly high voice. She talks in a very juvenile way. Even now, she's 33 years old. She presents younger than she is, and then that she's your mom is telling her, hey, act like a child. So she comes off like she has a mental handicap. And so the cops are like, yep, all right, well, everything checks out, case closed. And they just...
Is that what they were like? Or were the cops like,
gee, I don't know, this all seems okay to me.
Everything's on the up and up here. No crimes committed.
The doctor said she's not sick, but she seems pretty sick.
Yeah, who's is the cookie? Or I'm sorry, is the officer played by fucking what's his name? Oh God, what's the comedian's name? Whose impression are you doing right now?
John C. Reilly?
Just dumb guy.
A little John C. Reilly. It's a little. What's his fucking name? Bobcat Goldthwait, is that?
Oh sure, yeah. Bobcat Goldthwait, circa 1999.
I understand again. Yep, exactly. I'm a cop.
She seems real healthy.
It's Bobcat. I'm gonna start. Deal. Let's start hitting open mic night stand-ups and doing real 1980s character.
Yep, let's just bring that shit back. I'm just a regular old cop. I don't know.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Jim, for bringing that. We needed that little break in the insanity.
You're welcome.
Finally,
you're
welcome.
Guys, I've been waiting for you guys to jump in this whole time with something funny. Why
this is a tough story.
I'm serving it up for you.
Yeah, right. Setting us up for some real layups.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I just keep serving it into the net, but it doesn't get across there for some reason.
Cookie. Officer Doofus. Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Officer Pure Doofus.
Jeez, guys.
Oh man. Perhaps because of these incidents where people are starting to notice, hey, maybe there's something wrong. It kind of again encourages Gypsy to start acting out on her own, and she starts to take a more active role in her escape. The first time she really makes an effort to run away is in February of 2011, and she so apparently in addition to all this medical stuff and trying interfacing with all these organizations that for all this medical stuff, the Gypsy and Dee Dee would go to sci-fi conventions And like Gypsy would like dress up in cosplay, and like they were like also Disney people as well. So they went to a science fiction convention, Vision Con, and there Gypsy met up with a man that she had previously talked to online. Now the details of the story
Always great.
are told two different ways. Yeah, no, totally not sketchy at all. It's kind of like it's this weird out of the frying pan into the fire. Listen, I don't want to cast aspersions on this man. I don't know. But it definitely was like the case where a 35-year-old man like was agreeing to meet up with, at this point in 2011, she was like 20 years old.
She thinks she's 16 years old.
She's yes. Next, she claims Gypsy is part alien. Oh no, yeah, exactly. It is very sketch. I don't want to
bring it back around.
Apparently Gypsy did reveal some of the abuse that was going on to this man, so there is a possibility that he was just like, no, please, I will actually try to get you out of this. Or he might have been a creep. I don't know. Anyway, now, like I said, the details are a little hazy. She definitely told Dan what was happening. Dan is the name of this guy. Dan agreed to have Gypsy stay with him in Arkansas, and so Gypsy ran away and hitchhiked to his home, and basically literally got in a stranger's car and drove up there. But within 4 hours, Dee Dee shows up because they, in some versions of the story, people notice this older man with this younger girl and are like, what the fuck is going on? In other versions, it's that Dee Dee and Dan have mutual friends, and so one of the mutual friends is like, hey, why is your kid running away? To Dee Dee. Dee's like, what the fuck? And shows up and basically threatens Dan to call the cops. And
how do they have mutual friends?
They're all going to this convention. It's like convention
just through
friends.
The con.
Yeah,
friends.
I think they would do this over and over and over again. Every year. So when they got home, Dee Dee smashes the computer, Gypsy's computer, smashes her cell phone, and threatens to smash Gypsy's fingers with a hammer.
Wow.
If it ever happens again. So, yeah. And so at that point, from then on, Gypsy is having to sneak onto the computer and use the internet after Dee Dee has gone to bed. And that was the circumstances from where she met Nicholas Godejohn, the final kind of piece in this tale.
At this point, Dio, let me just interrupt at this point, it feels like just go. Just leave. You can walk. You don't need a feeding tube.
Yeah.
Just get out of there.
I think that is true for somebody who hasn't... I don't think she mentally had that capacity to think that way. Not that she was dumb, but you start she never got a chance, you know what I mean, to leave. In a way. She started being trapped from 3 months when her mom said she had sleep apnea. Sure. She's never known. Her mom has always been there for at least part of that time, has been looking out for her. But
at some point, you have to be like, this woman just threatened to smash my fingers with a hammer. Yeah. Clearly, she doesn't have my best interest in mind.
Again, I think that's definitely true, and I think that's ultimately what happened. But I think the idea that she could just get up and leave. I mean, she thought that the cops thought that she was mentally handicapped, right? Mm-hmm. She thought that her mom would be able to find her no matter where she went based on that other thing. She thought that she didn't know which of these ailments were real.
That's true.
She just knows that she can walk. She doesn't know if any of these ailments are actually real or not. She suspects or not. So yes, I think what you're seeing, and especially as we start talking about Nicholas Godejohn and their relationship, I think that is her version of getting up and leaving, and that's the only way that she knows how.
Well, also, Dio, I may be mistaken because I watched just a 25-minute video, but I think that Gypsy claimed after the laptop incident, Dee Dee actually tied her to her own bed for 2 weeks.
That is
So
something that she's
physically,
claimed.
she couldn't leave.
Yeah, for at least
if she's correct.
Yeah, and yes, and I think that I didn't include that claim in this telling, partly because, as we'll get to later, the telling of the stories change a little bit. I don't think that Gypsy is. I don't think Gypsy is lying. I don't think that Gypsy is a reliable narrator of some of her own things. And I think that as I'll kind of talk about kind of towards the end of this, like, I think that there's a pattern of behavior that has gone through generations that Gypsy is kind of displaying now that is manipulative in distinctly different, but similar ways than she had always been manipulative. You got to think, like, and this goes back to what I was saying before, her only role model is this incredibly abusive and manipulative person, so she just picks up patterns of behavior that are that. Anyway, so now we have Nicholas Godejohn, who it does have real fucking problems. Like, Nicholas Godejohn might actually have the mental capacity of a 15-year-old, and only a 15-year-old. Nicholas Godejohn, he is a very disturbed young man. He was diagnosed with autism. He also claims to have a darkness inside him, and I'm actually going to, I know it's been a long while, I'm going to
Does he have a pet tarantula?
No, but let's,
guys, I'm pretty edgy.
Listen to the man himself, courtesy of Oxygen TV. This is him talking about himself.
When I was still in Michigan, something clicked. It was, ironically, it was on my very birthday. I had something click in me. And once that thing clicked, I knew that there was something different about myself that I didn't understand. I should actually bring up another moment when I was 14 years old, and that's when I first glimpse of it. This is when I realized that all of the things that were building up in me were basically jeopardizing my inner happiness, my inner peace, and all the rest of that. Because I remember seeing one night, it was 9 o'clock at nighttime. I was in my grandma's house. I just remember looking in the mirror and I saw a glimpse of something I didn't recognize in my eye. It was just a shade, and it went away. It was almost like something was trying to tell me, oh yeah, I'm there. You've created me, I'm there. There's almost no light at all in there. But I saw a shadow go right past it. It was almost like it wanted me to know that it was there. And so really, I knew there was a darker part of me, and I was actually quite terrified to actually explore it. I was terrified to explore it. And now I actually regret exploring it with Gypsy. She's the one I hoped I would be brave enough to actually explore it with me, just so that's the way I understand what's inside, who that is, what that is. I wanted to know, so this way I know what I'll be dealing with. And unfortunately, that part of me wanted to come out for a very long time, and the very first opportunity it got, didn't waste any time in basically trying to make an example out of somebody, unfortunately. That dark shadow part of me that really is triggered by anger. It's triggered by anger. The sweet, innocent me that I usually wake up to every day is not there. It's a completely different person.
Gypsy, Rose, and Nick, a two.
Oh,
That is the most Charles Manson beard I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah, people in the chat
more
loving that
Manson-y
beard.
than Charles Manson's.
yeah.
It's
So
because
and
this,
it looked
it's
like
it's
his
combed
mustache.
back.
Dude,
It's
he was having a
combed
hard
back
time
like a
talking,
haircut.
right? Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Mema, thank you for the 6 months.
It does. It looks like his hair is all upside down. Like he's supposed to have stubble and a haircut,
Yeah,
but he did it backwards.
yeah. He
He
does
did it
have
backwards,
he
yeah.
does have reverse hair.
He does.
Yeah, so this is Nicholas Godejohn. As he was talking about like seeing this dark side of himself inside. In addition to like his diagnosed mental illnesses, he claims to have multiple personalities. And the human brain is a fascinating thing for sure. He would often refer to his multiple personalities with different names, and it'll come up a lot later. There's specifically a dark evil personality that would come out. He hails from the mecca of serial killers, Wisconsin, Big Bend, Wisconsin. Godejohn had previously been arrested, oh boy, for self-pleasure at a McDonald's.
That's not illegal. Oh,
For
Masturbation.
for 9 hours. Yeah,
Wow.
homie pulled
That's
his
not
pud.
even fun anymore after
I-
9 hours.
I mean, it depends. If
also,
you're- if
why did it
you're
take him 9
if
hours
you're
to call the cops?
edging on your
Yeah.
disclosure? Hey, man, it's taken the UFO community
For the first
4
8 and a half,
years.
they're like,
4 years. All right, he
Kill my
was
neck over
hovering
there.
around disclosure for 9 hours. Yeah, dog, he
9
pulled his pud
hours.
for 9 hours. Yes.
did he order food?
Presumably.
Honestly,
but also,
rude to,
To re-energize.
masturbate in a McDonald's for 9
do you,
hours without
but
ordering
do you
it.
do you think that the McDonald's was just like going along with it for
Yeah, for 8.5 hours.
eight hours?
They were
and
like,
59
hey,
minutes?
just don't go in the ball pit. Nick's back there right now.
He's,
Wait,
he's
this
back
is
there
Nick.
just loving it.
Right. They were telling the other customers.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's just
Nick's
old,
been in the ball pit for about 6.5 hours. We got another
old-
2.5 before the cops show up.
old edgy Nick over there. 9 hours. Yeah, I haven't heard after that long.
Old
I have a
Shake
darkness
Dick
inside
Nick.
of me. I'm very
Shake
edgy.
Dick Nick.
The griddle and then a big and
My
tasty. That's
God,
probably
dude.
that's
I know, right? He probably did show up for breakfast and then was like, well, I got a nice breakfast in me. Got to work something out. And then, once he finished, maybe he took a break, got himself a McFlurry.
Every few hours he's refilling his soda. Can you refill your soda at McDonald's?
I think so, yeah. Maybe it depends on McDonald's. We're talking about a McDonald's in Big Bend, Wisconsin. So
yeah, you can refill your soda.
there you go. So yeah, he that and he had a concealed weapon charge. Both of these things happened.
Was his concealed weapon his penis?
Yeah, bro. No, that wasn't concealed.
Yeah, he was open carrying that.
That was open carry. This all happened in 2013, which is actually after he met Gypsy. So
Wow, really?
yeah, yeah. Despite his obvious troubles, Gypsy fell for him in a very like teenage romance kind of way. Like she began to like mirror him.
She
and-
would also masturbate in a McDonald's for 9 hours.
Well, okay. So like he was into like BDSM and she was like, "What's that?" And then she found out and then she would like send him pictures and shit. He like had all these personalities that I mentioned, right? She started to adopt different personalities and start taking pictures. She had a personality like Candy and Ruby and Kitty. And they had like, One was the slutty one. One was the innocent one. It became this like very elaborate fantasy space with him,
Sure.
where they were kind of feeding back and forth. What chat room did they meet in?
Feeding French
What-
fries back and forth.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Did they meet at McDonald's? Right. What chat room did they meet in? They met in a Christian singles dating site.
Where the pervious people hang.
That's right. That's right. The HBO doc had this like graphic, which I don't know if it's from the actual website or not, where it was like, "Do you want to date a pastor?" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" And
Like, boy,
this-
who doesn't?
this guy's face, this guy's shaved face. But yeah, so she starts to adopt like different personalities, kind of mirror his. They exchange these like sexually charged text messages about different personas and different fantasies that they start having, and it begins spiraling. And this goes on for like 2 years, and eventually, Gypsy reveals what's going on with her mom, and you know, it starts off with him being like, "Well, I would protect you from anyone," and she's like, "Well, anybody, including my mother," and he's, yes, I would, and then it just continues to go into it goes inches closer and closer into this fantasy about killing Dee Dee. They called that fantasy Plan B.
What was Plan A?
I'll tell you. Plan A was was getting Dee Dee to meet Nicholas and basically try to arrange a bump in kind of meeting where the two of them would hit it off, and then, you know, Nicholas could become part of their lives. Like, this was Gypsy's plan.
Okay.
So Gypsy pays for Godejohn to come to Springfield, and they arrange for this kind of like meet cute. McDonald's says for 9 hour fuck you cookie. And like, god damn it. They arranged to meet at actually a movie theater. And that they would kind of bump into each other, and then Gypsy would be like, "Oh, we're friends," and then, you know, and Dee Dee would presumably like them, and then it would just go from there. That was the fantasy. Couple of problems with this. They're going to go see a movie. What movie they're going to go see? They're going to go see the live action Cinderella movie. Okay. So think about this for a second. The plan, the conceit of the plan is that Nicholas and Gypsy don't know each other. Because remember, they met in secret.
Yeah.
Over communication. So they don't know each other. So Dee Dee and her mom and Gypsy are there as mother-daughter going to go see a fun Disney movie. What's Nicholas? He's going by himself, going to go see Cinderella. Gonna go see a...
What's weird about that?
Nothing, Jim. Not a damn thing.
Relative to a 9 hour meet-off session. Yeah, what's weird about that?
He's like, man, if I start during Cinderella, I'll be here all the way through... What other movie came out in 2015? Avengers 2. I don't know. Yeah, so basically, Dee Dee immediately goes, who the fuck is this creep who's going to a fucking children's movie by himself? Now, also, you know, we're the only people in the theater. It just came off super weird, and even for Dee Dee. And she's like, this guy's a fucking creep. I'm also guessing that Nicholas Godejohn was Nicholas Godejohn and fucking creeped the hell out of Dee Dee as well. Just like, even that. Guys can like Disney princesses too, Mama, but it is a weird look for an adult male to go to a child's movie by themselves if they're not a film critic. Like, so according to Godejohn, during this meeting, Gypsy like grabbed him, took him into the men's restroom, and the two of them had sex. It's a total like weird fantasy thing that he tells cops during his fucking interrogation. I bring this up because considering how like Gypsy denies this, and considering how controlling Dee Dee is, like how could that possibly have happened, right? Like how could like that would require Gypsy to be out of her sight, walking presumably, you know, like it's a whole thing. So I think he's talking out of turn. I think his description of their relationship is very warped, I think. And I am willing to give like in this case Gypsy the benefit of the doubt because of the circumstances of her abuse, right? Like her abuse is just insane. I don't think it would allow this person in. Like there was no way any man was going to get between Dee Dee and Gypsy as long as Dee Dee was alive. So plan A didn't work. So now we're on to plan B. So Godejohn goes back to Big Ben for a period of time. They decide we're going to do it. I'm going to spare you guys these like truly insane text messages that they would have back and forth because there was like, again, they were into BDSM but in a like very not healthy way. Like, listen, I'm not like whatever your kink is your kink. I'm well, as I've said before, we're not kink shaming anybody, but it's very clear that he did not understand like basic principles of consent and basic principles of like taking care of your partner, and like kind of forced a very juvenile subservient relationship onto Gypsy. It's very strange. Now read him verbatim. I will do a dramatic reenactment with Patrick as Gypsy Rose and me.
Oh, I'm down. Send him.
Dude, I found another picture of him that I dropped in your folder if you want it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I can't wait. I cannot wait for this. Oh, God.
By the way, I'm pretty sure BDSM to this guy was beating dick solo in McDonald's.
Wow!
What the
I fixed him. I put his beard on his head.
Nice
Good
work.
job.
Oh my God. There you go. See, this is what he needed. He just needed somebody with this. You know what, Jim? He kind of looks like.
Are you gonna say me? Did you say he looks like me?
You know, you could be brothers.
I have a darkness inside.
I crave Mickey D's.
Right.
Please, if I was gonna jerk off in a restaurant for 9 hours, it would be a classy establishment.
Like what?
Like a Bennigan's.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's old Bennigan's Jim. He's here for 9 hours. He gets so many slices of pie.
Endless fries, yeah.
Endless fries, dude.
That's what's up.
Olive Garden. Yeah. Chat, which restaurant would you spend 9 hours in?
Which restaurant would you jack off in?
For 9 hours.
So again, they have these text messages back and forth. They decide they're going to enact Plan B. Gypsy pays for Godejohn to come back to Springfield on June 9th, 2015. Dee Dee and Gypsy were at the ER for another feeding tube replacement when he shows up. So he waits for them to return home and for Dee Dee to go to sleep before
where, Dio? Waits where?
Unclear. I tried to find that out. I don't know what he was doing while
jerking off.
Yeah, he found a McDonald's.
Clearly.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
we already know how he passes the time, so
Yeah.
he was probably psyching himself up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, wait at Macca's. That's right.
Yeah.
And Gypsy claims that when they got home, apparently Gypsy had upset Dee Dee and they had to like make up, and they painted each other's nails in their final moments. And Gypsy claims that
Painted
Dee Dee,
them blood red.
well, Gypsy claims that Dee Dee's last words to her were "Don't hurt me," in reference to a perceived emotional slight that Gypsy had earlier done to her. And that really stuck with her. Later that night, Gypsy let Godejohn in and allegedly supplied him with duct tape, gloves, and a knife for the murder.
Sounds like he came unprepared.
This knife,
Yeah.
I think he was like flat ass broke.
You could still steal a knife from somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
The laundromat.
Later that night,
That's a pretty gnarly knife.
It is, yeah. It's like Surrey. It is pretty gnarly, and like I said, I will spare you guys the actual gruesome pictures. They are pretty gross. Where did Gypsy get the knife from? I'm not sure where she got the knife from.
Is it like a fishing knife? Does anyone recognize what that knife is?
It looks like
for?
a fillet knife. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is pretty gnarly. What was I gonna say? So after letting Godejohn in, Gypsy went into the bathroom and covered her ears. She says she heard her mother scream and call out for her, but she did nothing to help. After Godejohn finished killing Dee Dee, he claims that he and Gypsy had consensual sex. However, Gypsy characterizes this as non-consensual, and worse, this is a huge warning, that this was an act that she engaged in to prevent Godejohn from assaulting her own mother during the murder. Yeah. Godejohn had some very dark fantasies about this murder.
Clearly.
It's very grim. And again, it's kind of crazy. There's a lot of interviews video, like an interrogation video with him in the documentary, and he is very plain stated about all of this. Like he, I think as emblem, his autism kind of prevents him from being coy, or he doesn't even really try to cover it up. I also don't know, it's unclear, and later his lawyers would argue that he may not just have the mental faculties to know what he did was actually wrong. Like he might know it's wrong on
account of all the hubbub.
Right, exactly. Like because a bunch of people are telling him is wrong, but he may not have the capacity to feel what he did was wrong. Dee Dee must have a weapons closet next to the drugs closet. I mean, maybe. But yeah,
I found it. It's a fishing fillet knife. You can get it for $15 on eBay right now.
Wow.
Not this one. Obviously.
Yeah.
Just this model.
That'd be like $50 for that one.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? This one, the fucking. Never mind. We'll talk about the market.
This is like in a murder museum in Nevada.
Yeah, this is probably thousands of dollars. So yeah, after the horrible shit, Gypsy and Godejohn stole $4,400 in cash from the house and made their way to a nearby hotel. And what kind of complicates Gypsy's narrative of the post-murder interaction she had with Nicholas was that, like, they filmed themselves with their cell phones. Like, there's literally like half naked videos of Nicholas because Gypsy is filming, and of them in a hotel, like being like, "We're gonna fuck now." Like, they have this kind of for themselves. I don't know. It's weird. Like, they're very in this like giddy space that like they're like again,
I mean,
teenage
I bet
feeling angst. It's so odd.
I mean, there's I'm sure murdering a human releases chemicals
Sure.
that you're not finding other ways. But also, she is like escaping from the prison she's been in her whole life, right? There is, for her, I would totally get why there's a sense of elation there.
Yeah, totally. I think that is a lot of what's happening. You know, there's also like something that the documentary brings up, and something that is very clear from like pictures like this, is like she had this like childish mentality and like would cosplay Disney princesses, and like again was kind of like this Disneyfied versions of fantasies. Her fantasy world were all these kind of like saving the princess kind of thing. She talks about in the documentary her favorite movie was Tangled, about a girl who's
Rapunzel.
trapped. Yeah, exactly. Who's trapped and has an evil mom and is so, and there's this like very this is very strange kind of twisted fantasy world and that they are engaged in, that she's engaged in, and that's the only thing that she knows.
Is that a school photo of Nick Godish on there?
I think it is, yeah.
In like a dress shirt and tie and a leather jacket.
Yeah, classic.
I definitely knew that kid in middle school.
Right?
Yeah.
I think never mind. Anyway.
Like a $15 haircut.
Right. Yeah, she actually looks genuinely happy in that photo. She does. She really does.
That's true.
And I think I'll talk about this later. I think it's in moments like these that she did experience happiness. And I think that's part of why what's happening now in her life is so problematic. But we'll get there. So they steal this money. They spend a couple of days on this.
You know, it's a Dio episode when it's 2:45 and we're still. Well, we'll get there.
Dude, I wrote half as much of a script. We're nearing the end. We're getting there. So they filmed cell phone videos of themselves. I talked about that. After a few days, they mailed the knife back to Big Bend, Wisconsin, because they didn't want to travel with the murder weapon.
To whom?
To his home. So they're going back to Nicholas's house in Big Bend. So they mailed the knife from from Missouri to Big Bend, Wisconsin.
Why?
Yeah, good question.
Dude,
Why not huck it in the bayou?
Because
it's a
they're
fishing knife.
Because they're fucking either they think they're children or they're mentally children. Like that's why they're not geniuses murderers.
Surely at least Nick has watched some movies. Right? There's like a lot of social information in there out in the world about what you do with murder weapons, and it's not like hold on to them.
What would
make
you
sure
do
you
with
put
your
it at
murder
your
weapon?
house?
Mail them. Put them through fucking.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that is crazy. Dude, the weirdest thing is that it gets delivered.
Sure. Yeah, you can mail a knife. Why wouldn't it get delivered? I'm not mad about the USPS situation. I'm mad about them being like, well, we got to keep this knife. Let's mail it to our own house.
I think maybe they
hurl it into the bayou.
Anyway, you're not wrong. Anyway, after the discovery of the body, so we're back at the beginning now. Finally, there's another 3 hours of this. After the discovery of the body, friends and neighbors who still believe Gypsy to have special needs set up a GoFundMe page to pay for Dee Dee's funeral and potentially Gypsy's at this point. However, another
she's still missing.
Yeah, so they're gone. They are. It takes them. They murder Dee Dee on June 9th, I believe, at night. So 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. Nobody knows that Dee Dee's dead. So the 14th, neighbors are like, "What the hell is going on?" They see these Facebook posts. Turns out these Facebook posts, you know who posted them? Guess.
I mean, I'm going to guess it's
Nick.
Gypsy Rose?
It's Gypsy who posts those. So, and for some reason, yeah. So strange. So she posts that.
Wait,
and
what's
then,
strange about it?
Well, the content of it. She's taking on
I mean,
the
it
persona.
definitely seems like she's inventing someone like a scapegoat. She's like, this is what a crazy murderer
But a
would write
scapegoat that
on
is
Facebook.
literally saying the same shit that he said to her about doing the murder.
I see.
Like that's
too close to actual guy.
She's literally saying exactly the same thing he said.
I see.
So, they find the body. A neighbor who kind of knew that this was going on with Gypsy. Gypsy had confided in a neighbor.
Knew what was going on with Gypsy.
knew
All
about the
of
secret.
this?
Knew the secret boyfriend, and I think she actually knew somewhat that Gypsy could like walk. She
And
didn't
never told anybody?
No.
Send that neighbor to prison.
Yeah, this neighbor has a lot of feels for sure. She points the cops in Nicholas's direction, basically saying like, because Gypsy had confided in her about like the BDSM stuff and the way they were talking and all that, and you know, this woman's name is Aaliyah, a Woodman C. She basically was like, well, this is probably just some creepy guy, all that. But then once, you know, Dee Dee is found dead and Gypsy is missing, it starts coming together. And on June 15th, after being pointed in Godejohn's direction, the Waukesha police raid Godejohn's home and arrest him, find Gypsy there. They surrender. And at this point,
and they find the murder weapon because these idiots have mailed it to his house.
They sure did. And shockingly to everybody in the town, Gypsy's walking, and there's now video of her walking. And so it immeiely, people are thinking Gypsy is running
cured.
a con.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, that's right. Thank God. Nicholas,
We've all been so hard on Nick Godejohn, but clearly he's a faith healer.
That's right. He's got that good dick. He can just cure you of anything. You know, some guys claim they can do it with their dick. Godejohn really could pull it off. So initially, public reaction is, holy shit, like, what is happening? Were we conned this whole time? Then slowly, but they think Gypsy's in on it.
I mean, she kind of is.
Well, eventually it starts being revealed more and more about what Dee Dee was doing. And, you know, Gypsy starts telling the police what happened and why. And Nicholas is telling his version of it and what has been told by Gypsy. And so eventually the public opinion starts to swing the other way. And they have a lot of sympathy for Gypsy. Consequently, the county prosecutor, Dan Patterson, decided not to pursue the death penalty in either case. He called this case extraordinary and unusual. So after confirming that her medical records, he basically went back and found this like history of, you know, what had happened. Patterson secured a plea deal with Gypsy for second-degree murder. According to her lawyer, in the year that Gypsy was in county while the deal was arranged, she gained 14 pounds, which most people...
I bet she was eating with her mouth.
Right, exactly. Most people, when they go to prison, lose weight. So she was so malnourished or undernourished in this case, that's what happened. In July of 2016, Gypsy took the deal and was sentenced to 10 years in prison to be served in Chillicothe. I can't say that right. Chillicothe.
She should have demanded that they put her in juvie because she was still only 12 years old.
Right. Well, I think it turns out she was like 24, I think. Yeah. Wait, she's 30. She's 33 now, so she was 26 when she went to prison.
Hey, that's not 10 years.
We'll get there. While in prison,
I'm paying attention.
Gypsy got engaged to a man named Ken Urker.
But what about Nick?
Yeah, what the fuck?
You can't just drop that thread, Dio. We were having a very rich tapestry of romance.
Okay, well, I'll tell you more about her subsequent paramours after this. Nick. While Gypsy had a lot of sympathy, nobody had any sympathy for Nick.
What?
He initially waived his right to trial by jury, which is a terrible move.
Why?
Well, actually, it probably would have been a good move. I don't think he knew. I think he knew that public opinion was not on his side, and so he's hoping for the judge to do it. But he changed his mind. Eventually, his trial begins in November 2018. And his lawyers basically argue that his autism and his low IQ made him susceptible to Gypsy's influence. They try to paint Gypsy out as this, seductress person, all of that. However, Gypsy testifies against Godejohn, and even though she had her deal did not include having to do that, she does.
She just wanted to.
Kind of. On the stand, she claimed that the two also had a plan to get her pregnant in order to force Dee Dee to accept him, like that there was a plan C, as it were. And that she had actually stolen baby clothes to kind of enact this. But that Godejohn preferred the murder plot, went along with the murder plot.
Who doesn't? Murdered a baby every day. Not murder a baby. I'm saying murder is better than babies.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. I don't want you guys to think I'm a monster. I'm not pro-baby murder. Just murder is better than babies. That's all.
After a 4-day...
But better than either of that is Cinderella.
Okay,
the live-action Cinderella.
Live-action Cinderella.
We get it, Jim.
Starring Dan Stevens.
Right?
Or is it? That's a different one, maybe.
Oh my God! 4-day trial.
This picture that you have up right now. It looks like it's in black and white, except for her hair and his shirt. Why is that true?
They are incredibly white people. These are the whitest people you've known.
They're both gray.
Yeah, thank you, Scavstar. No wonder this lasts for so long. I keep getting interrupted. I'm trying to bring this fucker home. There you go. Here's a better picture.
Oh, now they're twins.
Now they're twins, exactly. 4-day trial. Jury took just 2 hours to find Nicholas Godejohn guilty of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison. However, there exists a possibility of an appeal. I have another clip.
He is an appealing fella.
Nope, that's wrong. Where did my clip go?
What, me?
Yes, here we go.
How dare you?
Another clip.
John's first-degree murder conviction. He's the Wisconsin man serving a life sentence for stabbing Dee Dee Blanchard to death in 2015. Francis Watson shares the latest evidence shown in court and what's next for this case.
Okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her. I will admit it.
Nicholas Godejohn was convicted of first-degree murder for the stabbing death of Dee Dee Blanchard. Authorities say Blanchard's daughter, Gypsy, manipulated Godejohn into killing her mother. She testified in court that her mother forced her to use a wheelchair and undergo unnecessary medical tests to collect gifts and charitable donations. She also said she planned her mother's murder. She took a deal, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and was sentenced to just 10 years. This before Godejohn even went on trial.
Appeal attorneys are not disputing whether or not Nicholas Godejohn killed Dee Dee Blanchard in this house back in 2015. What's at issue is his mental condition and whether or not he was properly represented during his criminal trial.
Did you have a strategic reason for not investigating and hiring a neuropsychologist with autism specialty to support that diminished capacity defense?
No, ma'am. We were comfortable with Dr. Franks, and and it didn't occur to me to do such a thing until shortly after the trial.
Besides getting the proper medical expert to evaluate Godejohn, appeals attorney Jenny Young brought up all the media exposure surrounding the case.
Were you concerned in picking a jury that the volume of pretrial publicity was so great that there would be a presumption of prejudice among potential jurors in Greene County?
Yes.
Videos of various television and cable shows were played in court, many of which feature Gypsy giving her side of the story.
Certainly doesn't portray the accuracy of the relationship between Mr. Godejohn and Ms. Blanchard.
Greene County prosecutor Dan Patterson also used the videos played in court to make the state's case.
In fact, in the last video we watched, she's referring him to as Sir.
Yeah,
an evil king.
She does say that for sure. I do remember that.
Patterson also reiterates that his office tried to work with Godejohn's defense.
The state did make 2 plea offers in this case to the defense.
Yes.
And at some point in our discussions, you told us that the defendant wanted a lower sentence, something closer to Gypsy Blanchard.
I mean, I don't specifically remember doing that, but I certainly know that you and I talked about a possible plea arrangement on multiple occasions.
Still, appeals attorney Valerie Leftwich says Godejohn's mental condition was key in this case.
Would you agree that any planning Nicholas may have participated in was done through the lens and the thinking of an autistic person?
Yes.
It could be a few months before Judge David Jones makes his decision on.
So basically what that's saying is a couple of things to take away from that. One, clearly he's got like documented mental illness that was not represented in his case. And 2, that there were, with all the media attention that happened immediately after. Like, I cannot stress enough. Like, they were shooting the HBO documentary before she had her plea deal. Okay?
That's crazy.
Right. So, like, that whole thing was happening that fast. So, Nicholas arguably never really got a fair shake. Now, he absolutely murdered Dee Dee. He absolutely has severe mental issues, but there is an argument to be said that you gave Gypsy has severe mental problems. Gypsy engaged in the conspiracy to murder her mother. She got 10 years. He got a life sentence. Is this justice happening? We don't know. So that's what they're going to find out. This is fair. This was August 9th, 2022. Ooh, well.
Oh.
Presumably didn't work. But, appeals processes take a while.
That's true.
So, Gypsy was released in December 28th, 2023. After serving 8 years of her sentence, as documented in the Lifetime show Life After Lockup. She was, at the time of her release, married to a Louisiana teacher named Ryan Anderson.
They got married while she was... Did they meet? I mean, did they, meet?
So this is what happened. She initially met somebody named Ken Erker, who I mentioned earlier. They were engaged to be married. Ken broke it off. And she quickly got re-engaged and eventually married to this man named Ryan Anderson. You can watch the entire Lifetime docuseries. You can be like Dio and binge fucking Life After Lockup in a day, and your mind will slowly melt. It is, you're
wrong.
Cannot recommend it at all. As documented in the show, her marriage to Ryan Anderson quickly fell apart in about 3 months, and she rekindled a relationship with Ken Erker and is now carrying that man's child. Okay, so, and Gypsy Rose has been in the media spotlight ever since. She, like I said, the documentary was being filmed as she was getting a plea deal. There have been multiple dramatizations of her life. There's in addition to the HBO documentary, 2 docuseries on Lifetime, a myriad of specials on Oxygen. Hell, we're covering it on the Weekly Weird. We are now part of that problem. Look at us. Hoping to get that sweet, sweet algorithm clicks, baby.
Not to mention her hour-long comedy special on
That's
HBO.
right. That's right. She's doing a one-woman show off Broadway. No, I mean, listen. She after getting out, she's basically taken to social media. She posts about her life constantly. She has been very public-facing. Okay, so her story is not really over.
Gotta get that hustle, baby.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you know, not a lot of opportunities for ex. To be fair, not a lot of work opportunities for ex-convicts. So you know, there is that. Rogan Experience episode. I'm sure it's going to happen if it hasn't already. But there's just been so much, and like after having, you know, when I first approached this, I thought, let's work backwards when I approached it, and I like looked at everything that I was being. Thank you, Jim. I looked at everything that she was putting out there now, and worked back to, you know, her and Dee Dee when they were alive. And 1,000% Mema, what you just said. Being in the public eye is the one thing she learned from her mother. And after watching how she behaves, and even with like the heavy editing that a docuseries will do to make people look good and dramatize things, I truly think that Gypsy is continuing to perpetuate a cycle of abuse. And that the way she treats people, the way she manipulates people in her lives, is not, it's very, I suspect that it is the kind of behavior that she learned from her mom. And she may not even know she's consciously doing it. But just like, you know, the very fact that she got one man to get her out of prison, to set her life up so that she could go to another man, unclear whether, you know, that was a plan or not. It's very weird. It's also very clear, you know, from the moment that she got out of prison that she wanted to get pregnant, and within 6 months of getting out of prison has gotten pregnant, and now is bringing another life into this world and potentially continuing the cycle of abuse. So
yeah, I don't want to prejudge her, but hopefully someone's keeping an eye on that relationship.
Yeah,
and her child.
I 1,000% agree, and I really, you know, I doubt anybody within her sphere is watching this, but if they are, please make sure that she is getting the appropriate amount of therapy that she needs to be getting. More than just state-ordered therapy. I think she has had a lifetime of abuse, and she's going to need a lifetime of work to get better. And I hope that she does truly know that in her heart and believes that. I will also say that, again, this media attention thing is, you got to think, her happy moments in her life, going back to the picture that Mema pointed out, her happy moments in her life were always in the public sphere. Were always moments where, like this, like, you know, always moments where she's presenting to the camera, always moments where other people are paying attention. You got to imagine that was the only time that she ever felt happy, because when behind the scenes and in her home, it was just her and Dee Dee. And what was Dee Dee telling her? That you're sick, that you're going to die when you're young.
I'm gonna smash your fingers.
That I'm gonna beat you if you get out of line. That, you know, you have to survive with me. That that's the only way. And the only moments of happiness were when a camera was turned on her, and when other people were watching. And
there's some things we can all identify with in this story.
True. So I think the overwhelming amount of media that she's put herself out to do, the TV shows and the social media and all that shit, is just a continuation of in ways a continuation of the abuse that she was experiencing. And yeah, I worry that this woman has a lot more work to do before bringing another life into the world. Now, she do whatever she wants. She's never gonna meet me, I don't think. But yeah, that's all I got. I think it's a very strange story, guys. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that was a hoot, Dio. Thanks.
Yeah, how come you didn't bring this one around to Bigfoot's?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Bigfoot.
Time travel. It's transubstantiation or something.
I think probably one time they watched Harry and the Hendersons.
That's not true.
No. Yeah, very probably not.
No, heavy stuff, dude. Heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff indeed. We never opened up the phone lines. I don't know. Do we want to open up the phone lines for 5 minutes?
I don't mind. Yeah.
Here we go. The phone lines.
Everybody call in. Tell us the most tragic story you know about abuse and murder.
Tell us about your JO session in McDonald's.
Yeah. Say,
yeah, for real.
please.
I do want to hear about that.
I don't.
I want to hear about it.
Don't do that. We have terms and services that we gotta fucking.
So there is something interesting about the Nicholas guy that I didn't hear you bring up. He claimed he had what is it? Disassociated
frog
identity.
DNA.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And that he would have her talk to a person called Victor the Vampire, who was also apparently the guy who committed the crime.
Sure.
Yeah, that was like his.
If I had a Victor
self.
the Vampire, that's who I would use to do murders.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's just the dark self. Like that's what he was talking about. And yes, I didn't go into like the individual personalities, partly because like it was I didn't get like broad consensus on that. He hasn't really had there's that Oxygen special where they talk to him a lot, and like he kind of runs it through. I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't really make heads or tails of it to be like that clip of him talking about the darkness inside of him was the one I thought most interesting. But yeah, he had like they had weird pet names for each other, you know.
Yeah.
And it was very, like I said, it was this kind of like weird like this weird bastardization of what like a BDSM relationship would be if you were doing that in a healthy way, you know. It's very much uninformed. It's gross. It's gross. Also, ew. I didn't like it. I didn't like reading about his weird brother. Ew. His fantasies were gross.
That, brother?
Ew. It was just gross. I didn't like reading this fucking weird assault fantasies all the time. It was like not cool, man. Not cool.
Despite the alliteration, not cool.
Yeah, sounds cool. Vicky Vams. What? Did he have a personality that wasn't dark?
I mean, he claimed that he did. He claimed that he had, you know, you heard him in there that he had like an innocent person, and his like his poor fucking mom and stepdad. So like his mom and stepdad are interviewed by the cops, and some of those interview tapes are shown in the HBO documentary. And the mom is like, he's got mental problems, like, and we keep trying to help him, and we just don't know what to do. And this was like on the cusp of when like autism
got cool.
becoming, well, was becoming more socially acceptable or more socially it was more broadly in the public consciousness, I think. And so, she's trying her best. But and like the stepdad is like, we would tell him to go out, but also, they just didn't know what to do. It seemed like that was my impression of them. Now, I don't know. There might have been some broader, like, dark story happening there, but from what I saw, she was, it was a mom who was just like shocked and saddened.
Yeah, I bet.
But like not, but also like she kind of knew to a certain extent what her son was, and so,
a vampire.
A vampire, yeah, secretly a vampire. So yeah, I'm obviously, I don't mean to be dismissive when I'm like, that shit's weird, but like, it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, and I don't really have the language to discuss it super well, but it's just unfortunate that he I think Gypsy and Nicholas were feeding off of each other, right? Like it was a back and forth within this like fantasy world for both of them. But I think what ended up happening was that Gypsy is just way more articulate and like shockingly normal in ways that like you weren't going to expect based on that photo, like on this photo up here, right? Sure. And that people were like, whoa! And so they paid attention to what she was saying, and they believed everything that she said. And I don't think she's necessarily reliable. This is what I was going to say earlier. I don't think she's necessarily reliable because I think she's very aware of when she has an audience and what she says when she has an audience and what are the things that get certain responses out of people. Like I bet you she knows how to get sympathy better than anybody on the planet, because that's all her training, right? So,
yeah.
And and there's a fair amount of reason to feel real sympathy for her too, but I don't know that Nicholas Godejohn. I think he probably needs to be institutionalized, but maybe not through the prison system.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how deep you want to go on the carceral system. I would argue that everybody be institutionalized in a reparational way rather than just put in prison.
So yeah.
Heavy. Dark stuff, Dio.
Dark stuff indeed.
Now that I know with this story that we just talked about for the last hour and a half, I feel like getting Meat Shetty as a sponsor was a little bit inappropriate.
Yeah, you think that?
Feel like I goofed up on that one, boys. Sorry.
I don't know if Unicorp's gonna like that. Oh man.
Oh man, they're gonna be so pissed.
They're gonna be mad at us.
Do you think Unicorp is gonna sponsor us again?
I don't know. I'll reach out to my contacts.
Oh no. Oh god. We can't afford it. They're our only sponsor.
They're our only sponsor. They're gonna bump us down to a worse product.
And listen, I feel like I don't do enough shameless plugs on this podcast or thing we're doing, show. But if you want to sponsor this program, smash that follow button, hit like and subscribe.
Ring that bell on YouTube.
Yeah.
Ring-a-ding-a-ding.
Ring-a-ding-ding. Or ring the phone.
Yeah, call in.
Call in. Call
Phone number's
in.
over there.
Call in. It's right up there.
I'll tell you what, boys. I had one goal in mind for this entire show, and it
Was it to slam a whole bathtub?
and I accomplished that fucking goal, guys.
Yeah,
I did. That was a whole
started the
bottle of
episode.
wine.
He started the episode saying everyone was a villain, but there has been a real hero tonight, and it is you, Patrick.
Yeah.
The
hero in the story is you.
Patrick, wine slayer, dweller of bathtubs. Well,
friend to little rubber duckies.
Rubber ducky, you're the one. What was in the tub? Pinot
Grigio, baby.
Yeah.
Little Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio.
Well, it's been
good
10
night,
minutes.
everybody.
Yeah, good night.
Right?
See ya. No, we're gonna call it here. Next week we've got an interview show, right?
We're interviewing Nick Godejohn.
Nick Godejohn. Yeah.
Coming live from McDonald's.
Patrick, do you want to talk about next week?
Yeah, next week we're going to talk to a friend of mine, Brooke, who had a personal paranormal experience with a haunted house that she lived in, which includes a ghostly painting. So that'll be fun.
Love a ghost painting.
Oh,
It'll be
it's the best kind of painting.
It'll be our first all interview show. We're not going to have like one of these big topics next week. Let us know, what do you think of the format switch? Let us know what you think about us doing true crime.
Rate each of us on at a scale of 1 to 10 based on how smart we are, and then how funny we are, and then how handsome we are.
Oh,
drop it in the Discord.
Wait, is this going to be like where one of us is the handsome one, one of us is the smart one, one of us is the funny one?
One of us is strong, one of us is really stretchy.
One of us might just
one of us can turn invisible.
Right. One of us can turn invisible. Good.
It was Nightwing. Nightwing was the painting.
He was the painting.
Well, then, you know what? Call in Nightwing so we can have a reunion between you and Brooke.
Yeah.
That's right.
Scab, what do you mean your grandpa used to haunt in the house he built? Like post-death or pre-death?
My grandpa used
was he an astro projector? Like, it's pretty rad.
Or was he just like, he built it so he made sure there was enough space in the walls for an old man? He could bang on the inside of the wall, look out through a painting. After death, okay. That makes more sense, I guess.
True crime is 3.5 out of 10.
I want to hear about it.
Damn.
All right.
God,
Fair enough.
I mean, it's heavy. Yeah.
It is heavy.
I'll tell you what, harder to make jokes this week.
It was a bit.
What do you mean?
I thought the Bobcat Goldthwait was a pretty good bit.
That's right. Give that one a 10 out of 10.
Masturbation to McDonald's, another golden egg right there.
That one was a layup.
People too scurry. Fair enough. Well,
not a lie.
I've closed the phone lines. We're calling it here, folks.
Thanks for all your calls.
Thank you for your calls this week. It was a late one.
Yeah, thanks for not calling me in the state I'm in right now.
I know, right?
Tub of wine.
I shouldn't drunk dial, honestly.
Who would you drunk dial right now?
My wife. She would get so mad at me right now.
Do it.
Can we call out? Can we call out on that? Instead of a call-in
Sure.
show, can we have a call-out show where we just call random phone numbers in a time zone where that's not
Let's
rude?
call Dave and see if
and
he's
just
still
be
watching.
like, tell us about your ghost experiences.
Oh God. Hey, you. Hey.
When's the last time you were at McDonald's?
How long
What were you
do
doing there for
think-
9 hours? Why were you there?
How long do you think you could masturbate in a ball pit? Well, guys, we'll be back next week at the same time between plus or minus 5 minutes from 11:59 p.m.
That's right.
Next week, like I said, we'll be doing the interview show, and then we'll have we'll have fun. We'll do fun things.
We'll have so
Thank
much
you,
fun, just like
Golden Bee.
tonight.
Yeah, we'll
Right.
talk about something less.
Telling you in great detail about a real murder.
Listen. I didn't even get into great detail. Okay, I skimmed the surface. I didn't even talk about her getting tied up in the bed after us running away. Okay, that Patrick brought that up. Okay.
It's true.
All right, guys. Well, I don't know how to end
gotta
this
go.
show.
I gotta go piss a whole.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Fucking end this shit, dude.
Yeah, all
We
right,
love you
guys,
so
we're
much.
getting going. Listen,
Thanks for listening.
don't
Thanks for the
murder
phone
your
calls.
mothers. Go take it down. Don't do it. Bye.
Tune in next time for more